What's going on, people? It's Kid Shardy Gaming Nation in the building, going live right here. Give me a second. Let me. Right here. Okay. Uh, Fix certain things right quick. All right. Move over a little bit. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Anyway, this is Kid Shardy Gaming Nation in the building, or as Yardy King, or Kish Yardy, or King Yardy, whichever you want to call me. All right. Doing this video today because I was on a panel with an OG that I respect in the space called Izzy Baines. We had a bit of heated debate, and the topic of the debate was basically about women and relationships, right? While Izzy Baines was having the subjective argument, I was having the more objective argument, right? I was talking more about how the issues got into the environment, or when it comes to black culture and American space. And black culture is part of American space, right? We are American. And speaking about now, from my point of view standpoint, I was acknowledging. So let me think how the question started off, right? Okay, the question was, why don't men demand respect, or why do they tolerate disrespect from their women, right? My point that I made was that the reason why black men sort of take disrespect from their women is because they're trained to do that way. They're trained and shamed to accept disrespect from their women, or to pick women that's disrespectful, right? Because in black culture, especially from the pro-black community, the Hotep guys, the Nation of Islam guys, the various different, I want to say pro-black organizations, have shamed black men. Black women is God. Hold on. Listen, if you come into my chat with any BS, I'm just gonna block you off, Rip. Why troll people's channel? Why not just get a job and get a life? Anyway, I was saying, anyway, like, share, click, subscribe, share to the channel, right? Anyway, what's going on? Like I was saying, right? In black culture, especially when it comes to black men, we have been tricked into being a servant leadership style, right? Which a servant leadership, what a servant leadership style is, basically happy wife, happy life, where that man puts the best interest of the woman, the children, and that household before itself, which is self-sacrificing, right? So what black men, what's happened is that black men have been shamed and trained. Pay attention, I'll tell you. Listen to what I'm talking about, right? Click, share, like, and subscribe, right? So a lot of black men, they're shamed and trained into picking bad black women. And if you're in black culture, and I'm 33 years of living, I'm born in 1992, right? So if you're like in your Gen X age, if you're a boomer, even if you're in my era, you should have heard, you should know how black men have been shamed into picking the bad black women. Whether it be from watching the Cosbys, whether it be watching Jeffersons, whether it be watching Martin, whether it be watching Fresh Prince, right? Whether it be from your mother or your family around you or your pastor, your black pastor. A lot of black pastors say, would tell black men. I've heard black pastors tell black men, "Hey, you got to stick it out with this type of chick, even though she's being disrespectful towards you. She calling you outside your name. She's emasculating you. You go to your pastor to ask your pastor for help, but he'll tell you that's what a real man does. A real man takes that kind of abuse from that black woman. Instead of that pastor saying or quoting from even the actual Bible says it's better to be on the roof of your house than to be in a house with a contentious woman. The Bible says that. But what black culture has done, whether it be the pastor simping for black women, whether it be the pro-blacks, black woman is God, the Nation of Islam, one of their famous saying is that when you educate a man, you educate a individual, but when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Yeah, it's in the meeting room. It's like a yellow lever. Yeah, yeah. All right. So, these are a lot of these sayings in black culture, right? Give me 1 second. All right. In black culture, happy wife, happy life. If you see a black woman that's being disrespectful to you, obvious red flags. They will tell you that's what a real man is supposed to deal with that type of chick, and that's they're normal. Well, the thing is, well, I'm speaking towards black culture specifically, because at least with Latin communities, maybe like Puerto Rican or Mexican, at least your women are still more family orientated. You understand? Like at least with Mexican, like what I noticed with a lot of Latin women, they talk shit, but they still do what they meant tell them to do. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to black culture, right? It's been a training. Then it doesn't even start with the men. It starts with the young boys, when they're children, right? When the young boys are kids, they grow up with a very emasculating mother that emasculates them, talks shit to them. She's emotionally stable. She's a tyrannical dictator. So he's growing up. Give me 1 second. Got a phone call. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to take a phone call right quick. Doing some things in the basement, so doing this live, right? So in black culture, and even from a young boy, and I grew up in it, in black culture, even though I'm a Jamaican black, but I've watched this a lot in a lot of Jamaican black households, Jamaican households, Caribbean black households, where the mother raising the children is very emasculating, especially to the boys, and very abusive. So a lot of black men grow up thinking that this is something normal. So when they go out into the dating market and now they're picking or trying to find black women to get into relationships with, they tend to pick the same disrespectful woman that they saw in their mother. Now with me, lucky for me, I was intelligent enough to know, okay, to what you call compartmentalize. Pick out things that I liked from my mother and pick out and disregard things that I didn't like that my mother did. So the things that I didn't like, the things that I saw my mother do that was wrong. When I went out into the dating market, I stayed away from women that displayed those things. But not every black man is like me, or thinks like me. So most black men, when they go to the dating market to go date women, they tend to pick black women that display the same toxic traits that their mother picked. And how are black men shamed into doing this? Well, if you don't pick this type of black woman that's disrespectful, that don't listen to what you tell them to do, that don't listen to what you tell them to do, or don't listen to your program or how you want to run things, they'll shame you by telling you ain't your mother black, right? And it's funny to me how Izzy Bands, he's almost 50. He's in black culture, so I'm surprised he doesn't know these things, these certain shaming tactics or mechanisms that is used to train black men into picking disrespectful black women. And on the show, I even said, I quoted something that Angry Man likes to say. Most men don't rise to the occasion. They usually fall back on their training. See, if you're training and shaming black men, well, if you don't date this type of bad black women, then you must hate your mother, black mother. Why are black women saying that to you? Because black women know that a lot of black men was raised by a fucked up black mother. Hence, why are you not picking this fucked up black chick? And when you grew up with your black mother, you saw your black mother disrespect a lot of black men that she had chances with. So that's why a lot of black women, when you say, I don't want to date a black woman that's being disrespectful to me, I don't want to date a black woman that's non-submissive, I don't want to date a black woman that's uh, uh, being contentious or fighting with me, they'll tell you, ain't your mother black? Because you were raised by that type of black woman. These are the things that black men are trained and shamed into doing, right? Now, this show is not going to be long today. Uh, hold on.
I appreciate you. I
Hold
appreciate
on.
you.
That's my
Shout
man, Izzy
out to
Band. Hold on, hold on, hold on,
60K.
hold on,
Y'all make
hold on,
sure
hold
y'all
on. Hold on. I don't want to play this whole because Izzy Bands will do a whole 11-hour stream. Shout out to Izzy Bands. And I think his title of his show,
lower their standards as it pertains to looks.
let me see. It said why we set or the title of his show was why we settle for love instead of commanding respect, right? And y'all should go subscribe to Izzy Bands, right? We just disagree on this topic, but I think Izzy Bands is going to be something big in these spaces, right? Um, so the title of his show was why we settle for love instead of commanding respect, right? Well, like I said before, black men are not trained to command respect from their women. They're trained to tolerate disrespect from their women. You feel me? Now I brought up the Cosby shows. Hold on, so let's play through the video. Let's play through it.
Now, if you're talking about weight, if you're talking after her, I haven't watched it. It's just like that's what a real man does.
Yeah, that happens. Even when you keep trying, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that lasts a year, sometimes that lasts 2 years.
Oh yeah. After a while, you gotta.
Yeah, after a while, that's what I'm saying. Like,
After a while, you gotta let it go. If they're refusing to do anything different, or they're refusing to behave better, or to come to an amicable agreement, whatever the case may be, yeah, that's
I don't want
that's different. Yo, Roswell said it is put on the front. Hey, sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, Roswell. This is what I'm gonna say. Now let me read these real quick. I'm gonna move on to my man Yardy.
Now Izzy Bands, he said something important there, right? Which most black men are not trained that way. Most black men are not trained to say, okay, how to vet a chick properly, right? When I say vet a chick properly, they're not trained to look at it as, okay, I told this chick several times to do something, and she's keep consistently being disrespectful to it. Black men are not trained to say, you know what, leave that chick alone, stop talking to that chick. Black men are actually trained to keep dealing with that. And they trigger black men's masculinity by saying you have to be, only a real man can deal with a strong black woman. And a strong black woman is a disrespectful type of black chick. So if you don't continue to deal with a chick that's consistently being going against how you want to run your program, then you're not a real man. But if you continue to deal with that chick that's going against your program, then you're a real man. You're a real nigga, or you're a real black man. That's the programming that black men have been trained since they're little boys by their mothers. Let's continue.
children and not to bring the problems in front of the children, and they could work it out where they can have a situation that they both could agree on. I don't think it's nothing wrong with moving forward. Now, if it's
No, what Izzy Bands is talking about right there, right? Um, because I think a lot of the boomers, right, they stuck it out with the mother for the sake of the children. They didn't want to break up the family, right? So what ends up happening is that two people sacrifice their happiness and put on a front to maintain that family unit with the children instead of separate going their separate ways and still taking care of their responsibilities with the kids, still making certain agreements to, okay, we still gonna take responsibility with the kids, but we're not happy with each other. This is not working out. Let's just move forward, right? That's what Izzy Bands is talking about, right? I think with the boomers, and even with a lot of Gen X, mostly Gen X, right? They stuck it out with their baby mamas to make it work with the kids, right? Because there were boomers that left. There were boomers that if the mother and the children were being disrespectful to that boomer man, that boomer would just reject that relationship and leave. The problem is that causes that it didn't properly address the issues with the mother was causing. Because a lot of times the boomers didn't just leave because there wasn't shit. There was something wrong with the mother. The mother was being disrespectful to him, and the mother was turning the children against the boomer man, right? So what Gen X did was they said, okay, cool. We're going to make the sacrifice, and we're going to stick it out with the baby mom, right? So I guess what we're trying to say for today is that two people, even though they have children, should both supposed to be able to separate and still make it work to benefit the child. Co-parent, basically, which I can agree with, right? You can still co-parent a child and not be with each other. You feel me? And then sit down with that child, talk to those children, because my parents got divorced and they had to co-parent with me. So they had to come together with some type of agreement when it came to me, right? So that consists of two parents sitting down with the kids, letting the children know the truth about life and how to deal with certain things, how to deal with breakups, and how to be responsible adults, right? I think that's a good thing to do, because sometimes maybe two people are just good enough to come together and create a child, and then separate but still raise a good child. Maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that's what the purpose of two people coming together in a relationship is, just to make a kid. All right.
it's a toxic situation where they're arguing and fighting in front of the children, where they're not trying to work together, where they're working against each other, then yeah, I think that's a detrimental situation.
You fast forward a little bit.
So let me ask you, how
That's like, hey yo, come on, that's hold on, time out. The membership, if you got the membership from Pet, I appreciate you. Y'all be like AH to support. Thing is, I was looking at Rudy Poo, and for my recollection, the crazy thing is,
you have shows like Bill Cosby, where the Cosby Show.
perfect example. Thank you. Perfect example. You know the thing wrong when you trying to lead people to a strategy.
we a little like, hey, y'all hit the Venmo or three of them. Ship. You already king. What say you, good brother? What say you?
To talking point, I think when Anchorman says that most people don't rise to the occasion, they fall back when they're training.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. I think a lot of dudes have been trained a certain way to deal with a chick's disrespect. And how they train to deal with that is to say that's what a real man does. You have women that say that, and then you have men who live that certain leadership lifestyle or happy wife, happy life lifestyle, reinforce it. Because I'm 33 years old. I'm going to be 33 this year. I remember growing up hearing boomers say, yo, you're a real man if you take this. You even hear pastors say that to dudes growing up in the church. Hey, a real man take this type of nonsense from this type of chick, and you stick it out with that chick, and this is what men do, and this is what a man does at the household, and blah, 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 blah. But
Now, that's perfectly said. Now, to back up the claim, I brought up a TV show, one TV show called Cosby. And the TV show Cosby, I forgot what the scene was, but there was a scene where Bill Cosby's son was, I guess he was, the mother or the woman was like, I guess, trying to boss over him. And Cliff told, I forgot his name, Cleo? Or I forgot his name. You take it. Melody, in that scene, there was a bunch of women trying to boss. Let me go look up the Cosby Show. Let me look up the Cosby Show. Cosby Show. Cliff. Perfect. Cliff teaches Theo about women. Like, you cannot. Hold on. I wish they had these clips. I might get copyright.
Okay, I don't think that you want to write poems. Poems is not the way you're going to get your woman back. What you need to do now is go to the next level if you want, just other than the begging you've been doing, where you say, Justine, I'm sorry, and Justine, well, it wasn't me that you saw, that kind of thing. You need to do some serious get down underneath. Please, please, please. And then you can go to the next level, which is, just a second, I'll show you what I mean. This is the ultimate level. This one. There you go. Now pay attention to what I'm saying. All right? This is the level you want. That's what you want. The blues begging level, my son. Now listen to me.
He said beg.
Justine. Listen to me. You're a dog. You're a dog.
Yeah, his name was Theo.
Under the house. It's 22 below zero. The wind is blowing fierce. You're freezing and you're cold, and the only person who can open that door for you is Justine.
Hold on. See, Cliff is teaching Theo to go beg for his chick back. This is what I'm saying. And even here, The Cosby Show from 1984 to 1992 featured characters on storylines that challenged gender norms and promoted feminism. So the whole Cosby Show promoted feminism. Let's look at this. Listen to this. Listen to this. Claire Huxtable, a feminist icon who held the house together, made food, and disciplined the kids. That's a matriarchy, right? Cliff Huxtable, an OBGYN who was comfortable wearing pink pajamas and hair bows, and who was active in raising their children. Storyline, gender policing. Claire stopped a hairdresser from putting a ribbon in her grandson's Nelson's hair. Oh. Gender role assumption. Thea learned that women couldn't fix cars. And Rudy argued with her neighbor Kenny about gender roles. House duties. Cliff and husband bedclothes often reversed the standard gendered dichotomy of blue for men and pink for women. So there was feminism in that show. You need to tell me that a lot of black people during the boomer generation and the Gen X generation didn't get programmed by the Cosby Show? By those kind of feministic things? Why do you say, why do you, anytime you hear people talk about gender role assumption or gender, or arguing about gender roles, that's feminism. Because feminists, they don't like the roles that they're put into. They don't like the fact that their role is supposed to be subordinate to a man. Claire Huxtable, feminist hero, The Cosby Show. Right? Now the reason why, and I brought it up on Izzy Band's show, and Beans he came in. So hold on, let's go into what Izzy Bands was saying. Let's go into what was said.
It was never told to the woman, hey, you got to stick it out with your man A, B, C, and D.
Ah, there it
So
is.
it's been put on the man, hey, this is what you got to do. So I think a lot of black men, I don't know if it's from the Gen X or
Right. If you notice in black culture, black men are always held to a standard of performance and doing something. You got to pay for this. You got to provide that. You got to protect your woman. But black women can. Well, every time you give black women accountable to a standard or to a thing, or they're just not tasked with doing anything. They're not tasked with sticking it out with a good black man. A black man that provides, that protects, that listens to her feelings. As a matter of fact, the same black women that say they want that type of dude, they're ashamed but that dude. Okay, so this is an example. Black women would say a real black man is a man that protects, that provides, that protects, that provides, that hold on one second. Sorry, people. My basement flooded out, so we was changing the boiler, right? So I've been the whole morning moving around boilers and changing boilers in my house and shit. Anyway, and sweeping up water and sweeping out water from yesterday. It's been rough. But what was I saying? Yes. So for example, say and I don't know why I can't think of it off my top of my dome right now. Black men, women would say a real black man is a man that takes her out on dates, loves her, respects her, treats her good, listen to her feelings, all that blah 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 stuff. The same black woman would then shame that nigga and call this nigga a sucker or lame for doing that. The same black woman that say they want those things from a black man, when they're trying to play that nigga, they'll shame him for doing it. Right? That's the crazy part about black culture. is the very same things that black women want black men to do. When they want to play you or run game on you and they get you to do those things, they'll shame you by calling you a sucker or lame. And I don't know why a lot of men like Izzy Bands and Young 41 or Corey Love don't want to acknowledge that problem in the environment. But we're going to get to that. Right. Black woman was never tasked with doing something or performing in that relationship. As a matter of fact, you heard black women say, we ain't gonna cook, we ain't gonna clean, sprinkle, sprinkle, sparkle, sparkle. We don't need you niggas. We don't date no scrubs, all that shit, remember? Who else grew up in black culture that can remember some of the songs that came out in R&B? Even tell me those songs in R&B, did it influence the culture? Did it influence black men and women? Did it influence women to not perform for a black man in a relationship, but have black men being a fool and performing for a woman that's not going to respect him? You don't think that has an influence on black culture? As a matter of fact, every time we try to give black women some instructions, they always put it back on a black man for picking the wrong type of chick. Instead of them, and see, the problem is with that now, right? Let's go to that problem. Yes, two things can be true at the same time. One, the brother picked the wrong type of black chick, but at the same time, the chick is also wrong too. Because a lot of times on the first meet and date, you don't know who this chick is. And the chick knew she didn't qualify for that black man that picked her. And he didn't choose that black woman to disrespect him. As a matter of fact, when he chose that black woman, she put on a front or lied to him. She lied to him. Now, we hold black men accountable for lying, and we give black men consequences for lying. The problem is that we don't give black women consequences for lying and held them accountable for lying about who they are. If a nigga lies to a black woman and say that I have money and I'm a six figures, but turns out that I'm a broke bum ass nigga, the whole world is gonna flame me and give me torch and burn me at the stake and call me all kind of bitch niggas and losers. And why did you lie to that black chick? But we never hold the black woman accountable. And hear this. We hold the king, which is the black man, the leadership, which is the black man, accountable for lying to the subjects. But we don't hold the subject, which is the black woman, accountable for lying to the king in the king's house. What kingdom, what nation, what ruler of a land do you ever hear that madness go on? I've never seen any kind of kingdom or empire, any kind of Japanese warlord or shogun, where the subjects of that land gets to lie and disrespect that shogun, disrespect that warlord or that war chief, disrespect that Viking chief, and not be held accountable, and consequences being brought to the subject for lying in that king's house or disrespecting that king in his environment. I've never seen that ever in history. But in black culture, in black community, black men, when it comes to black women, it's always you chose the wrong type of chick. It's never, well, you didn't, it's not that you chose the wrong type of chick. And yes, you should be held accountable so you don't keep choosing this type of, so when this chick presents this type of thing to you, you know to stay away from that, right? But at the same time, it's never, hold on, chick. The reason why he even chose you in the first place is because you lied to the nigga. You pretended to be something you were not. You see, every time you say, well, it's your fault because you chose the wrong type of chick, that doesn't change the female. And the other women get to say, well, if you're not going to hold that chick accountable to a standard, then we don't have to be anything. We can still be goofy. Because all y'all going to do is just blame the men, the men, the men. And we get to, and then guess what? Every woman gets to choose to be wrong. You understand that a woman has to choose with her own autonomy to be a good woman. or she could choose to be influenced, or she could choose to be a bad chick, right? And if in a black culture, every time you go into the environment, it's the wrong type of chick, the wrong type of chick, the wrong type of chick. Are we gonna now say, okay, cool, maybe it's not the dudes that's picking, maybe it's the environment. It's similar to now where, say you have whales, right? So you have whales in their natural habitat, and you have lions in their natural habitat, right? And mind you, the whale and the lion or the animals, they're doing their thing, they're minding their business. Not bothering anybody, just being animals. Somebody goes over there, or they're getting sick. The whales are getting sick by something. The whales are dying off by something. Something in their environment is fucking with them. Do we blame the whale for choosing to be in that environment? Or do we say, you know what? Let's go investigate to see what's in that environment, to get rid of what's in that environment making the whale sick. Then you guess what? You have all these different wildlife foundations like PETA. They'll come through. They see what's going on into the environment. They say, oh shit, there's an oil spill in the environment. Oh shit, there's whale hunters in the environment. That's why the whales are dying off. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to clean up the oil. We're going to hold the person accountable for spilling the oil. And we're going to stop the whale hunters from fucking with the whales. But that's not what we do in black culture. We still will watch black men drink from poison water, like Travis Hunter picking a bad chick, or many black men picking the bad women. And we will say, but wait a minute. At the same time, black men need to know how to pick better women. But at the same time, we need to hold the women accountable so they don't have to keep picking the bad women. Right? Because right now I'm dating. Ain't nobody women that have to charge the game. I'm putting in the work. So it's not like I'm a hermit not dating, not out here. Because eventually I want to get married, I want to have children. I'm out here dating. I had to walk off the train in New York City off 2 chicks this week. Last week it was 1. I had to walk out of the date because something disrespectful was said to me in front of everybody. And I walked off the date on somebody a couple months ago. Let's continue.
Or the earlier millennials, or my era, they're just falling back on the training.
That's it. That's
I think that's
interesting. That's interesting. Yo, shout out to Petty Pendergrass. Thank you for the gift of membership. If you got the membership from Petty Pendergrass, make sure you thank him. Make sure you thank him. Make sure you thank him.
Thanks, man.
Petty P.
I'm on my grind to get this money. I can't stop until I'm filthy. We got with the people zip on like the rock. I drop. I ain't no trapper.
Let's skip this.
Let me ask you a question, Gardy King, because that's an interesting subject and very profound. Hold on real quick. That's an interesting thing that you said. I appreciate you, Petty P. Let me ask you a question, yo. So with that being said, do those same people make an emphasis on respect, on
No.
respecting their men, or it's just like one-sided? It's just like, yo, no matter what the woman does, no matter how the woman moves, no matter what, it's just supposed to be like this.
No, it's never emphasis on respect to that man if he's gonna make those sacrifices. You remember that judge that jumped on the Breakfast Club a couple years back? And she was talking about how her man was like this, basically happy wife, happy life, basically how she described it. In that description, she never said how she respected that dude. It was just he self-sacrificed and he took all of her bullshit.
Let me look that up. Judge on Breakfast Club describes relationships. Okay, divorce court Judge Toiler. Judge Toiler? I don't know how the hell you say that name.
There are
So I'm gonna play the clip from Breakfast Club that I was talking about.
For your agency, coaching, or consulting business, but there are 3 to avoid.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post a link
Thousands of cold emails and
of that show to
America.
Izzy Band's
Hiring recruitment setters and
channel. Oh yeah, Judge Lynn Toiler or Taylor. I don't know how to say her name.
I married a 6'1" bottle of Valiant. My husband, I don't care what you do. You can't rattle him. You can't make him raise his voice. You can't upset him. He's just cool. I mean, I can do the most bizarre stuff, and he'll just kind of look at me, but he won't do nothing. And he's just so you can count on him. You could hold. He could hold me by the ankle over a cliff, and I wouldn't worry because he's that brother.
that's
You
how
know what I mean?
my wife does that for me.
Yeah,
Sure,
you gotta have it. Gotta have it.
I'm the maniac and she's the
Yeah.
always calm.
And you gotta have that because you got 2 maniacs in the room who won't work out. One time I was going through a thing, and I called him up in the middle of the day and working, and I said, "Babe, things ain't right here."
Mhm.
And he came home and stood there and said he didn't know what to say. And I'm talking and I'm telling and I'm crying and this and that. And he stayed until I said, "Okay, I'm fine." He said, "If you need me again, I'll come back." That brother.
That's dope. Yeah, because you've had your bouts with mental illness.
See. What translation? Right. When she was talking about that you could do it, she was testing that nigga. Right. What her man was a whole hold on. Okay, so translation, what she was saying was that she was testing this nigga's anger. He was one of those stoic boomers. Right? Stoic boomers that let their wife disrespect them. Because she said it in a nice way. She said it in a nice way. But what she really meant was that her husband was this stoic, because a lot of them boomers, right? A lot of those boomer men, they were this happy wife, happy life type of individual where their women would challenge their emotions, be disrespectful to them. They go out crazy, all of this shit, right? And the boomer men would just take it. They would just deal with it. Didn't have any emotions. They wouldn't respond, anything like that. So that made the woman now kept poking. Hold on, she has a bigger clip. You see this? This is the only clip she talks about. All right. But yeah, what she basically described was a happy wife, happy life type of dude. Now you're not gonna hear it because she's being subtle with it. Let me play it again, word for word.
I married a 6'1" bottle of Valiant. My husband, I don't care what you do. You can't rattle him. You can't make him raise his voice. You can't upset him. He's
What she was doing, she was shit testing the dude. That's what a lot of black women do to black men. They shit test you and do disrespectful shit to you to see how you're gonna respond. You feel me? So they basically testing your temperament. If you're somebody that I can run over, if you're somebody whose emotions I can manipulate, and how a lot of those boomers dealt with it is they just was this stoic zombie, just poised. Right?
just cool. I mean, I can do the most bizarre stuff, and he'll just kind of look at me.
Meaning, you could do some bullshit and he not gonna check you. See, a lot of boomers, they allowed their black women to do a lot of disrespectful shit to them and did not check their black women that did it. You see what I'm saying? Now I don't know how Judge Lynn Taylor or Toiler, however you say her name was in her younger days, but based on how she described it, she did a lot of bizarre shit. And she's only probably with her husband because that was the only dude that was gonna deal with her bullshit. And this man died of a heart attack. This was 6 years ago. So could you imagine the bullshit he had to endure? The bullshit he had to endure. Let's play it again. Play some more of it.
But he won't do nothing, and he's just so you can count on him. You could hold me by the ankle. Oh,
I didn't like how this judge went on their show and fucking check them on their show. I don't like how they do that. You don't do that. Because you can't do that in her courtroom. But anyway.
over a cliff, and I wouldn't worry because he's that brother.
That's how my wife does that for me.
Yeah,
She had you over a cliff?
gotta have it. Gotta have
No,
it.
I don't want a husband that is supportive to your wife. But your wife should not be shit testing you in that damn relationship. And you shouldn't play this stoic idiot that's letting your wife disrespect you. You don't check her ass on it because she gonna keep doing it. This is why a lot of the younger ladies in my generation do a lot of the bullshit they doing. Because they took game and learned game from this judge right here. Pick a dude that's gonna tolerate your bullshit. Right? So that's what I was talking about. Let me go back to Izzy Man.
So no, it was never emphasis on the woman. A, if this is what the man is going to do, then you have to submit and respect that man. As a matter of fact, in this day and age, if a man does that and he gets played by that chick, the same people who told that dude that's what to do, those same people call him a sucker, or it's his fault because he chose that chick. So I'm saying he would have never chose that chick if you didn't tell him to choose that chick or shame him into choose that. A lot of black men choose the bad chick because they're shamed into choosing that person.
What? Hold on. Let me keep playing it.
You believe that?
I believe that.
And Izzy Band is talking about you believe that, but Izzy Band, you're almost 50 years old, brother. I'm a street nigga like you a street nigga. I'm from East New York, Brooklyn. Glenmore and Liberty, last stop on the A. I was born in Brookdale Hospital, brother. I grew up in a Christian church, black church. I went to the Moorish Science Temple of America. I've been to the Black Nationalist Theater. I've listened to the Five Percenters. Listen to the Hotep niggas and the Hebrew Israelite niggas. So I'm part of black culture, even though I'm a Jamaican nigga. And you responded, but you really believe it, as if you don't know that black men are being shamed and you haven't heard the shaming tactics. Your homeboy is the angry man that he talks about this stuff before he got on YouTube. I'm pretty sure he talked about it. You've never heard when a black man will say, "I don't want this disrespectful black women." Other black men and black women would tell that black man, "Well, no, a real man would deal with that type of chick." You've never seen or heard that in black culture, Izzy Banks? You never heard Tupac saying, "Even though you was a black queen, mama," or "Even though you was a black crack fiend, mama, you always be a black queen." You never heard that line? And a lot of niggas repeat that line like it's the gospel. Even though you was a crack fiend, mama, you always will be a black queen, mama. Niggas repeat that. And a lot of black women take that and say, "Okay, even though I'm a bullshit bitch, I can still be a black queen." Not understanding that the reason why Tupac spoke like that is because he was talking about his own mother. Tupac remembers his mother as a Black Panther, and he saw his mother when his mother was on crack. So he's just telling his story from his point. It was a introspective moment for Tupac with that line. But y'all guys on the panel can't sit there and tell me you've never heard that in black culture. I'm 33 years old. I'm not that far from Gen X era, from the Gen X era. I'm 1992, and I'm from East New York, Brooklyn. Brooklyn. You mean to tell me you ain't never heard what a dude say, I don't want to date a chick that is wearing weave? The entire culture would tell that nigga he broke, or his dick is little, or he gay? You've never heard in black culture where black women will tell a nigga you must be gay because you don't want to date a chick with weave, or you must be gay. Listen to that logic. If a black man says, I prefer to date a natural black woman, I don't want a black woman that has hair weave, they'll call that nigga gay. So he's gay because he wants a natural black woman, he don't want a black woman with weave? And they say he broke and he don't like his mama. Yeah, I mean, come on, bro. You're not that, you cannot tell me you're not that dense or just that far removed from black culture, that you have not heard these things in black culture. Every time a black man says, these behaviors in a black woman is something I do not want and I do not appreciate. A black men say, well, when we approach you in the street, we expect you to give us a little bit more, smile more, be more respectful of us more. Black women say, we ain't doing that shit, nigga. When black men say, well, if I take you out on a date, or to a date to a certain type of restaurant, yo, this is what I expect. Black women say, we ain't doing that shit, nigga. Keep dating us. And other men would shame niggas into doing that. Yellow Waken and Dr. Umar Johnson and Derek Jackson, they're not new. If you grew up in black culture, you heard these niggas most of your life. You've heard Yellow Awakenings in real life, in these pro-black circles. And they will shame black men ad nauseum. If you don't want to date a certain type of chick that don't respect you, they'll shame you into dating them. You cannot say you from black culture and you've never heard these things. You can't tell me you've never heard black women tell a nigga you gay because you don't want to fuck a fat black chick. You don't want to deal with a fat black woman. Or when black men would tell black women, well, you're being too masculine and aggressive with me. You feel me? They'll tell black men that he don't like his mama, or he gay, or his dick is little because he don't want to deal with a masculine black chick. These are the typical shaming tactics to train black men into picking the bad black women in our community. He would tell me Izzy Band doesn't believe that. He's asking me if I believe that, really believe that. I must be in a different multiverse of black culture than everybody else. What else?
And it's inability to decide.
Wait, hold on real quick. How
You don't even have to go back to the 90s. Remember, I'm born in 1992. So I grew up listening to my mother. At that time, we had like the 8-track players in the car, right? And as we get into the 2000s, you remember, I don't know who remembers. You would have the portable radio. The portable radio you put in the radio, you could play your CDs in it. I don't know who remember. I forgot what they called it. It was like an 8-track thing. I remember listening to my mother play, have cassettes and CDs of all those R&B songs talking about how they hate men and how black men ain't this and how black men ain't that. I remember that. I grew up in that 90s era. Mary J. Blige, all those R&B women talking to black men like they dogs and shaming black men. I grew up listening to my mother play that in her car. My mother had that blue Duster. My mother's very first car was this blue Duster. I forgot what it was called. Those little, like, for those who don't know, because some of y'all who are watching this might be younger than me, it was like this blue Duster. And it had the cassette tape you could play in it, right? And I remember, and then the next car she had was a Toyota Camry. I think it was like 2005, 2004. And you could stick that portable radio in it. I remember my mother playing those cassettes and those CDs in the car. I remember plenty of women doing that. And how black men, you won't take me here, you won't take me on this amount of dates, and if you don't take me on this amount of dates, you're a broke nigga. These are shits being said in the 2000s. When it was my time to date in 2005 and 6, when I was, not 2005, like, I want to say around 2005, 2006, 2008, 16, when we had the sidekicks. Who remembers the sidekick, nigga? The sidekick phone. Because that's when I was dating. And I saw it then. It's just that at that time we didn't have social media or YouTube yet. Maybe we had like MySpace or AOL or some shit. But I remember those shame attacks growing up as a teenager in high school. Let's go.
How can so when you meet a woman, usually when you meet a woman, how many people are there when you're meeting that woman? Like,
No, I'm not saying when you meet that woman and you're there. I'm saying when the influence is being told to that person. It's like, okay, for example.
This is my issue with Easy Bands and a lot of people on the panel. I'm talking about an objective argument, which I thought that's what we were talking about. Easy Bands is now transitioning into a subjective thing. Of course, subjectively, in my personal life, if I greet a woman on the street one-to-one, nobody's there to influence her on what to think and what to do besides me and her own self, her own autonomy. Of course that is. I'm speaking about objectively. What's the objective thing I'm talking about? The influence that black women listen to get by listening to pro-black culture, black women as God, their pastor, the shit they watch on TV, the Oprahs, the Ricky Lakes, all those feminist programs. I'm talking about how her mother raised her to be. You have a lot of single black mothers that raise their children to be feminists and to hate men. So even before I approach that chick in that street, she already has a preconceived thought in her brain programmed her to be a certain way before I ever got there. And there are tons of black women that's moving like that. So I was speaking about the objective influence. I'm not talking about personal one-to-one, Izzy Mans, if you're going to listen to the show in the future. I thought we was talking about objective because the questions that precede that, you asked me, why did we settle for love instead of command and respect? That's an objective question. And I'm going to the objective. And the objective answer I gave you was that a lot of black men are trained to do so. And I substantiated it with an objective argument. Well, a lot of black men been trained by the pastor, by the pro-blacks, to that. I didn't make it a personal one-to-one. Like Easy Bands is going to make it right now. Give me 1 second. I got to charge the phone. Shit. For those who saying, okay, phone is charging. Okay. All right. Let's continue to play this.
But hold on, that's what I'm saying. How does that influence get in, and how much influence is that, and how can we quantify that on a majority basis? This is what I want to understand.
I did quantify that on a majority basis, Izzy Banks. If these women are going to these churches where these pastors are kissing their ass, if these women are watching the television shows, the media programs like a Ricky Lake, like all these feminist broadcasting shows, if they're listening to Montel Williams, if they're listening to their black ass mama telling them bullshit or their bullshit homegirls, that is an influence. I quantified it.
All right, so here it is. So if a black man gets on here and he says, I don't want a chick that's a 304, or I don't want a chick that's promiscuous or whatever, or I don't want a chick that's obese. Mm-hmm. The entire culture was shame that dude to say you're insecure for not picking that. You see what I'm saying? Or you're not a real man because you won't tolerate that or pick that.
Right. You even have dating coaches on here that would tell black men whose standard is, I don't want a promiscuous chick, they'll shame that nigga and say he's insecure for not picking a 3 or 4. You have dating coaches on the internet that's doing that right now. Black dating coaches, players of max that are doing that right now. Even before the dating coaches or the YouTube, you had niggas in real life doing that to black dudes. They'll tell a black man you're insecure for not picking that black woman and to give her grace for being a 3 or 4. But if you pick that same 3 or 4, she fucks your life up, them same bitch ass niggas is gonna shame you, tell you you a lame and you a sucker, and it's your fault for picking the same bitch you told them to pick and shamed them to pick. You cannot tell me I haven't seen that in black culture.
Or you have shows like Bill Cosby, or the Cosby Show, or even in Martin, where something's being said disrespectful to Hudson.
In Martin, right? I recently watched the first episode. Martin didn't like Gina doing something or saying something disrespectful about his show. And Martin was like, why you talking that way about my show? And Gina goes, why are you being so sensitive? That was the first level of shaming tactics, right? Instead of Gina saying, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, and I apologize, I won't say that about your show again, she says, oh, why are you so sensitive? That's how a lot of women condition a lot of you dudes. And because Gina was not the aggressive chick in your face, she was more subtle with it. She said, oh, why are you so sensitive? That's how a lot of black women train a lot of you black men that tolerate and accept things that you know you don't like, so that she can keep doing the things that you know you don't like by calling you sensitive. Or in today's day and age, they call you sassy. See, if you're as my woman, you're supposed to either say something good about my show, or you're supposed to say something in support of my show, not disrespect my show. There's a difference between disrespecting my show and giving me, what's the word? A critical critique about my show. You feel me? Disrespecting my show is, I didn't like that you had that certain type of guest on your show, or I thought your show was stupid and retarded. Versus a critical assessment of it would be, well, I don't really know what example I could give that one, to be honest with you. Because there's a fine line between disrespect and giving somebody a critical analysis or giving an honest critique about somebody's show, right? But nonetheless, in that show, Gina was like to Martin, well, why are you being so sensitive? Because sensitive. But Gina had said something that was, according to Martin, disrespectful about his show. So Martin had a right to say to Gina, well, I don't like how you're doing it. And Gina was supposed to, Gina was supposed to say, okay, Martin, I apologize, I won't do that again. You see what I'm saying? So that's how a lot of those shows program black men to tolerate certain bad things from black women. Again, Claire Huxtable and Gina, they were not in your face disrespectful. They were still feminine, but they were subtle with their disrespect. You just didn't see it. That's why it's like, it's tolerable. You can tolerate it better. Feel me? Let's go.
Or he'll take it, or he'll let it happen. See what I'm saying? So if we're going out watching these things in these shows, these sitcoms, we're hearing that from the people around us, how is that going to train the black man's psyche when he meets a chick that is being disrespectful?
But I don't know if the Cosby Show is a good example. Hold on real quick. Shout out to AH499. Thank you so much.
Izzy Bannon says he doesn't know how the Cosby Show is a good example. Okay. Oh. Despite never referring to herself as a feminist within the show, Claire proudly embodies several feminist themes and beliefs. Remaining, according to the Daily Dot, Nika Long, an outspoken advocate for equality in her household, fighting sexism while setting an example for her daughters. From the sitcoms, see? How is that not a perfect example? They even look at they even call Rudy a feminist icon, and Claire, her husband character, as a feminist icon. Cosby carefully and famously avoided talking on most modern issues, except it seems the issue of where women stood in Cosby's vision of a perfect world. He wanted to make one thing clear in his mind: family was not a euphemism for patriarchy. Let me say that again. Family was not a euphemism for patriarchy, like it is for many others. Oh shit. I've been overdosing on Cosby Show reruns. And watching the series as an adult, I discovered something surprising. It's feminist, like wave, what? Like wave feminists. Like, oh, this is a personal, somebody's personal article, right? So listen to what from this person's point of view is, right? Like I don't know how you say that word. The show overall is not an exercise in some. I don't know how you say that word either. Subtlety, subtlety. Of course, Bill Cosby meant to teach you all some things while making you laugh. But wow, Cosby carefully and famously avoided talking on most modern issues, namely racism, but also anything political or topical. Except it seems the issue of where women stood in Cosby's vision of a perfect world. As a man who was preaching strong family, he wanted to make one thing clear in his mind. Family was not a euphemism for patriarchy like it is for many others. Countless plots and subplots involve Cosby's character Cliff schooling his son-in-law, Elvin, in what amounts to feminism. Elvin arrives in Cosby's lives as a blatant sexist, and the eldest daughter of Sandra, ongoing on again, off on again, off again boyfriend. This amounted to a clever plot device. Since Sandra was a smarty pants going to Princeton, it made for funny, teachable conflict. And women power always won. Though the show was careful not to get too aggressive toward the men. What B myself and B's on Easy Band show said that, right? And I'm gonna play it. The men who were sexist simply didn't know any better and had to be taught. One episode I recently watched had Elvin trying to endear himself to mother-in-law Claire by learning to cook. After several verbal missteps saying he was learning to do women's work, for instance, he's put in his place by nearly every Huxtable female. Then Cliff teaches him to cook a simple meal and everyone wins. Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands. Domain, Izzy Bands. What do you call that I just read? And I'm going to post this article into my chat. So if Izzy Bands, ever you want to watch this, or you think I'm just making this shit up, because a lot of y'all niggas be having amnesia, especially when it comes to holding these women accountable. And a lot of y'all black men are afraid to be leadership. Part of being a leadership or a king of your household is to identify the problems going on into your household to find a solution. And y'all don't want to identify the women as being the problem. Because what's going to happen is the problem with women is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Pretty soon, there won't be enough good women for black men to fucking choose, and black women are not going to get chosen. So I'm not doing this because I have a fear. I'm not doing this because I hate black women. I'm doing this because not only for myself, but the brothers of my era and for the benefit of the community. I say this, right? When you teach a man, you don't just teach an individual. You teach a king that can build and create an empire. And as a man, as a king of my household, it is my duty, my job as a leader. See, as a man in your household, if you say you're the leader, you cannot be subjected to yourself. You got to be objective to your community. You have to look into your community and say, what's the problem? And find a solution to those problems. And correct the mistakes in that environment. Just like if there's an oil spill in the ocean that's affecting the fish that me and you have to eat, there has to be some kind of law or government to rectify that situation. Like that oil spill that happened with BP a couple years back, that destroyed a lot of fish and wildlife in that area. That had to be rectified, and people had to be held accountable because it was fucking up people in that environment over there. Well, it's the same thing with dating and mating in the black culture. Black women have been fucking up the environment, taking the influences from feminism and outside things and bringing it back into the black culture and raising their children that way. And the only way for black men to stop these things is one, identify the problems, find solutions that's going to give consequences to those problems, to those people creating those problems. We don't have consequences to when men are creating problems. We don't have consequences for when women are creating problems. And that's the problem. So let's go back to the article. I'm gonna read this again. And Women Power always wanted to know the show was careful not to get too aggressive toward the men. Because see, the thing is, if you beat a man with something, if you're aggressive with the men with it, they're gonna instantly know that something is wrong. And see, this is the power of women that a lot of you men do not want to acknowledge. You don't want to acknowledge that women have that capability. Yeah, put it off as, oh, that's just women being women. Oh, that's just women talk. They're not really like that. Oh, women ain't doing this. Oh, that's just women talking. Women can never get to that level. See, women's power is not to be aggressive and direct in your face. Women's power lies within their subtleness, like the serpent in the grass. That serpent, it takes time and it creeps and it sneaks. And by the time it strikes, you're dead. And all I'm trying to tell y'all dudes is, look, this is a snake in the grass. Look, pay attention. I know at the same time we have to focus on ourselves as individuals, men, but if we keep letting the snake go into the garden, eventually it's going to influence the other people and create other weeds in the garden and influence other people to be snakes like yourself. How many good women who were good women and who were wives was listening to their dumbass female friend and took themselves to a hot girl summer or to some club and cheated on their husband. The husband found out and fucked up their marriage. How many times has that happened? You can't influence, by the way, you cannot influence a woman that you cannot control. And you cannot always control a woman because she has her own autonomy. Let that sink in. The men who were sexist simply didn't know any better. They had to be taught. See that? And them being sexist is expecting a woman to cook and clean, which is a traditional role. But it's not sexist for a woman to expect a man to protect, provide for them. The other fall guy for sexism in the Cosby Show run is Kenny. It's Kenny's youngest daughter, Rudy's friend. He also known as Bud, simply because Rudy has decided to rename him. This recurring joke carries a lot of weight. The two consistently fighting, almost always about feminist issues. At the tender age of about 6, but the fact that Rudy could call him what she wants reminds us she's in charge. Look at that. Listen to that. A typical Rudy Bud episode aired earlier this week. As they head out to play in the cold, Rudy loans to Bud one of her brother's hats. But he snatches it back in anger when Bud tries to open the door for her because he says, "You're a woman and I'm a man." Cliff solves the problem by opening the door himself while emphasizing that he isn't doing it because he's a man, but because he is a tired father kicking the kids out of the house. What did I tell y'all yesterday? That's what I'm saying, like, man, you cannot be so self-absorbent to yourself that you don't fucking pay attention to what's going on in your house or your environment. This is how feminists wave 1, 2, and 3 got here. Because you bent the knee and you was not paying attention. You didn't think that the women were going to get this devastating and destructive, and they've become devastating and destructive. What I'm saying is, you better pay attention to it now before there's a fifth and a sixth wave of feminism, which I think is already here. They always want to put it back on the fucking men. You better wake up and recognize, or you're going to find out some shit you're going to understand. Let's go back to Izzy Mines.
Much, sis. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Y'all be like AH and support the show. Help us with y'all goal. I appreciate you.
The content didn't take off very aggressively, and I made about 3 videos.
I love you. 23 more people, at least $5 a piece to support the show. So you already came, all right? And I'm gonna let everybody get in with this after that, because I think this is some dope stuff that he's bringing up, and I'm trying to understand. So you're saying Cosby. Let me think back to Cosby.
Think the Fresh Prince or think about Gina?
No. We can't go all the way. Hold on real quick. We can't go all the way around the place. We gotta go to Cosby.
Why I said Fresh Prince and why I said Martin, because there was an episode in Fresh Prince where Ashley wanted to go out somewhere, and Uncle Phil gave Ashley a curfew. Uncle Phil told Ashley, you have to come back at 9. And Viv said Ashley you could go out at 11, and Uncle Phil capitulated to what Aunt Vivian said, which she bucked his program. If you mean to tell me that's not influencing black people and black women and black men on how relationships are supposed to be.
I think, from what I can remember, and it's been a long time, do I think that Claire Huxtable respected Bill Cosby? Cliff Huxtable. Yes, I do believe she respected.
The reason why you think that she respects him is because she wasn't being overtly disrespectful. It was just subtle.
Do I believe that she was perfect? No. I know she wasn't perfect. Do I believe that she held him down and had his back? Yes, I do. Now, did she try to run him a little bit? Yeah. Did she try to boss him a little bit? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But did she do it in public? I don't think she did it in public, number one.
She did it.
Did she demit?
She did it in front of the children. So if you're doing this in front of the children and you're raising the children this way, how are those children going to look at that and think how relationships are supposed to be? How is Theo going to look at relationships and think that's going to be? Hold on. All right. And if now you're a viewer, a younger person, and you're looking at that, how do you think you're going to grow up and think relationships are supposed to be? You're going to believe and pick women that are being disrespectful to you suddenly and think that that's a normal thing to do. And how has that turned out for a lot of black men so far? My fault. I'm distracted by something. Right? How do you think, if you're watching Cosby and you're watching Cliff or Claire preaching feminism to the husband and to the children, raising the children that way, bossing the children around, bossing you, the husband, around, what type of relationship with a woman, what type of woman you're going to pick as a man, what type of relationship you're going to get into, what are you going to tolerate in that relationship? Isn't that not going to shift your brain? And what do you think the women are going to expect watching that? Think about it.
Finish him or
It's going to affect them before it's going to affect you and that person even before you touch the table. right? Even before you touch the table, that person's gonna think a certain way. My fault. Hold on. That person before you approach that chick on the street, before you go on a date with her, that's what they're gonna think. I notice because when I'm on a date with women talking that way, that's how they talk. With women in my age bracket, I only date women that's like age 28 to 33. They talk in a way like um, clear, and I have to correct a lot of things, which I have no issue with doing. I understand that the woman I'm going with is not going to be perfect, right? But see, that's not what. But see, I wasn't talking about the day-to-day interaction. I was talking about the objective influences of what has influenced black men to this point in time, and why we have a manosphere, why we have a red pill space, right? Because for a long time, black men did not have a public platform to speak like we have now. Shout out to Tommy Sotomayor. Shout out to the Angry Man for paving the way.
Nah, I can't remember her doing that in public. I didn't ever get that impression, right? So I don't know. Like I can't say. You know what I'm saying? He had a wife. She was bad. She was beautiful. She was mostly respectful to.
And that's where you're getting it messed up at. Y'all are focusing on her being bad and beautiful. And that's why y'all missed her disrespect. Because y'all were too latched on to her being bad and beautiful. See what I'm saying? Right? Y'all were focused on Claire being bad and beautiful, looking good. That y'all missed her damn disrespect. That's all. I bet you if I watch that Cosby show right now and I binge watch it, I bet you I can see it.
Him. She did, you know what I'm saying, try to, you know what I'm saying, make him eat healthy or and you know what I'm saying. That was mostly what it seemed like she was on him about. Um,
That's a great thing.
if what I could remember.
Let's not take away Claire used to go out the way for Cliff now. Cause even when y'all remember when he couldn't attend that auction, what she do? She went out there for him.
Hold on. Yes, there's a way to.
No, of course. I'm going to acknowledge that there were certain things that Cliff or Claire was doing for Bill Cosby. But don't you think they put those things to hide or shield the fact that there's feminism? That doesn't take away from the fact that there was feminism in that show. I just read it to you, an article to you.
To be a member down at the bottom. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you. That's the members late right there. Thank you so much. Yeah, my man Young 41 said yes, she did in front of the kids and family, treating him like he was incompetent. I didn't get that. Maybe I'm.
You know, can I explain that to you?
Wait,
Yes.
hold on real quick. Yeah. I didn't get that impression though. I didn't get that impression.
It was
I
the discipline.
I didn't get that impression that she. I don't know. And maybe it's
Think about it. Think about it is every time he went to discipline a child, the way he was gonna discipline the child, she always had something to say.
I remember an episode where Cliff had to tell, I think, Rudy and the second oldest daughter, "Hey, come here," and it took him 5 times to tell him to come here, and they wouldn't go. They wouldn't go to him.
Yeah.
That's not.
I remember an episode where I think the light skinned chick, I don't want to, her name, wrong. That the chick that was played by Lisa Bonet. Lisa Bonet. Denise Huxtable. Now, last time I checked, wasn't not Denise the oldest person in there? The oldest daughter? Lisa Bonet. Cosby. Cosby. First date. No, I'm putting there was a let me see, Lisa? No, Denise. Okay, here is it. This was season 1, the pilot. And I remember that the dude that Lisa had brought home was from jail or something, some prison or some shit. A bad boy. I even remember that when Cliff did not like Lisa walking out the house wearing a certain thing. Because according to their time, that was like something that was like ratchet or something that was like too revealing. And Lisa or Denise had an argument with Cliff. And she didn't listen to Cliff. And hold on. Let me play.
Vanessa, come here.
Oh, this is hold on.
Come here. Here. See, there is there. This is here. Come here.
Yeah, Denise.
Cliff had to tell them about 3-4 times to go there.
Push this out the bathroom and throw the shampoo.
Guys, this is a school night.
It's Friday, Daddy.
Yeah, but up to your brain.
Here it is.
Like Mom said to, and now Rudy might be blinded for life. If she is, can we get a dog?
Hey!
Hey,
Where are you going?
I got a date, Daddy.
Not in those pants. Blood cannot get up to your brain. And besides, this is a school night.
It's Friday, Daddy.
Yeah, but did you go to school today? Okay, so it's a school night.
I asked Mom. She said I could go. Go ask her.
Ask Mom? I have to ask your mother? I don't have to ask anybody. Now go on in and change your pants. Thank you.
Instead of her asking her father first, she went behind the father's back to ask the mother. And the mother sanctioned Lisa going out the house in an outfit that Cliff did not agree with.
Well, Denise!
New outfit for you, Daddy?
Yeah.
Happy?
Hey, listen, I don't know if you know it or not, but your date downstairs is just wearing one earring.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, he gave me a perfectly good explanation for it, but if you want my opinion, it's because he lost the other one.
Bye, Daddy.
Yeah. Denise,
Yeah,
your face.
your face.
Your face. I mean, it's only one half of your face is made up now.
You know what I'm saying? That's not respecting Cliff. That's feminism right there. Izzy Bands. This is season 1, episode 1. This is the pilot. This was in the pilot. The very beginning. Let's go back to Izzy Bang. This is the scene I was talking about.
True though.
I'm gonna tell you why. You don't see it.
I saw so ironically last night my girl was playing an episode of the Cosby Show, right? And it was one of the first episodes, and it was the one where the fish died. Because you know what the crazy thing is, I was looking at Rudy Poo, and for my recollection, the crazy thing is I thought Rudy was so much younger than me, but she's not. Rudy's only like 3 years younger than me, but back in the days, it seemed like she was a baby, like a little girl, right? But it was the episode when they was flushing the toilet, Leonard, the fish down the. Y'all remember that one episode?
Yeah.
And
I
then
want to watch
he wants to have the funeral. Yeah, now the kids was like, you know what I'm saying, but you know, I haven't watched it.
Can I explain it to you?
Yeah.
You know why you didn't see it? Because Claire Huxtable wasn't like directing your face.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Claire Huxtable
Didn't I
was
read
shot,
the article
so she
that
was
said
still-
that, didn't I read the article that said that the women were not aggressive towards the men?
had the feminine qualities, but it was still kind of disrespectful if Cliff is trying to discipline the kids the way he wanted to discipline it, and she has something to say about it. That's still disrespectful. You're not going to see it is because you're used to black women being directly in your face with their disrespect. That wasn't clear.
Well, I can't say that either though, because I got six aunts, right? And I've always
No, Izzy Ban is just going in, is doing what women do in these spaces. He's going. I'm talking about objectively about what we saw on the Cosby Show. He's talking about in his personal life, subjectively. I have three aunts too, three Caribbean aunts, right? They're not like. Now, I don't want to say they're not like the typical black woman, but from my experience with them, they're very loving and very submissive, right? Not very submissive. You know, Jamaican women ain't very submissive, but they're not the typical directly disrespectful in your face. Now, my mother is. And me and my mother has had arguments back and forth with certain shit. See what I'm saying? But at the same time, my mother is still very loving. You know what I'm saying? My mother and her aunts came from a lot of dysfunction back in Jamaica. See what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know objectively there are black women that are not loving and kind and whatsoever like my mother and my aunts. But if you listen to the way my cousins speak, my aunt's children speak, they'll tell you something different because they're living with my auntie's 24/7. So they know more stuff about my aunts more than me. That's like I bet they have a perception about my mother. But I could tell you more stuff about my mother because I'm living with my mother 24/7. But Izzy Banks, she's going into something subjective to him, which is how women beat y'all up every time.
And they weren't really disrespectful to me. Like, they weren't really disrespectful to men. Now, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really see them interact with men a whole lot, but I didn't really see them. They didn't really, like, dog pile.
So if you're not seeing them interacting with men a lot, how do you know? See what I'm saying? You know what a woman could do? You say the same shit that I say. How would you know if you're not seeing your mother interacting with men? All right, let's continue.
On men or talk crazy about men or that I've heard. If they did it, it wasn't around me, right? And then my nana, you know what I'm saying? My nana, she didn't really, you know what I'm saying? Now, I think she had, my brothers and sisters said she had some crazy things to say about my father at times, but I never was around for it. You know what I'm saying? I spent a lot of time with her, and she talked shit about my mom and my dad.
It's on the children.
She told a joke about both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what you're saying though, but I mean, like,
So I don't know. Maybe I just kind of
No,
think
because
like,
I can.
I'm trying
No,
to think.
because you remember when Theo got his ear pierced? Theo had got his ear pierced. Claire got mad. He told Claire to sit back. I got this. Y'all remember that? I remember it perfectly.
And then what did she do? How was her response?
She sat back. She sat back.
I remember him being mostly the disciplinarian when it came to the kids.
No, remember when
Was it, hold on real quick. Was it Cliff Huxtable, the main one that would talk to the kids or would get on the kids when they acted up? That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's read this again. Feminist Claire Huxtable, a feminist icon who held the house together, made food and disciplined the kids. So Cliff was not the main one. All right.
Yeah.
no, remember when his daughter, I forgot her name,
Which
was
one?
going out with that
Yeah,
dude,
four daughters. Which one?
the light skinned
Vanessa.
one.
Oh,
older
we had
niece.
two light skinned ones. Sandra
Sandra.
and Vanessa. And
There were not two light skinned ones, man. The two little dark skinned chick. There was not a light skinned one until later on. With that Rudy playing as played by That's So Raven chick. But in the first seasons there was two dark skinned ones, Easy Minds. Like common sense.
Sandra and Denise.
The oldest one.
Okay, that's Sandra. Sandra.
Right. Remember she was going out with that.
The oldest one was not Sandra, the oldest one was Denise.
She didn't like. She wouldn't listen to
Izzy
him.
Bynes. This is what the oldest one was Denise, brother. Osby Show. Cosby. Show. The oldest daughter. Oh, my bad. That's not correct. Sandra was the oldest. My bad. So Denise was the second oldest. Okay, so the second oldest. Why did he introduce this bitch from the beginning? Cosby Show. No, something don't make sense. Cass. So they had four daughters: Rudy, Vanessa, Denise, Sandra. So Lisa, all right. Let me look for Denise's first date. Denise Cosby's first date. Give me 1 second. All right, let me look at this. I don't know if they're gonna show if I'm gonna be able to even find it, but it was the first episode. But basically, in the first episode, Denise was basically dating a dude like that was like a I guess at that time would be a bad boy, some kind of thug, and the nigga was from some type of prison. And Cliff didn't like the idea, but I think Claire allowed it to happen anyway. And because I cannot find that episode, ooh. Anyway, I don't think I'm gonna find that one, so I'm gonna just let that slide.
But not going down with that dude. He was like from prison or some shit, and he didn't like it.
Huh? No, that was.
How y'all not remember these episodes, man?
Bro, it's old as hell, dog.
Yeah, wait,
Old, dog.
wait, Sandra was going out with a dude from prison.
Yeah, it was in the first season.
Nah, Sandra wasn't even in the first season. That's how I know you went wrong. You must be talking about you. Sandra wasn't in the first season. Sandra didn't come. Hold on, let's look it up. I don't think Sandra came until like season 2.
That's me.
Sandra, remember, because even in the beginning when they showed
Lisa Bonet, right?
that's Denise. That's not Sandra.
Oh, my bad. That is Denise then.
Right, that's what I'm saying, Denise.
All right. So I'm talking about Denise now.
Yeah, you off. See, you don't even know. See, and this is the thing. His perception. Hold on, real quick. His perception is a lot. You gotta know this too, Yardy. Your perception is gonna be a lot different too because you're a lot younger than us, right? So he was there when it first came in. You came there after like seeing kind of the syndication and after things kind of got the way they got. So I can kind of understand your difference of opinion, and it's okay. But it's like, I don't know, some of the stuff that you're saying seems a little off. I'm gonna be honest with you. It seems
So you gotta point out what I'm saying specifically.
So hold on. What am I saying that's off? Because men before me in your age bracket have said the same things I say. And you always want to make it about or because I'm in a younger bracket. You got to remember, I was born 1992. East New York, Brooklyn, black culture, Glenmore and Liberty Avenue, last stop on the A train, Brookdale Hospital. So I know what my perception is.
Right. So from my recollection, and again, it's been a long time, but from my recollection of the Cosby Show, most of the time when it came to the discipline of the kids, Cliff did the disciplinary nation of the kids. Most of the time. Am I wrong about that, y'all?
I only saw the discipline in the kids.
Please, I can't hear you talking. Cage, you waving the back, so I know it's you.
I've always seen the mom when he tried to say something, he always had an input.
Okay, she has had an input. Well, who was the main disciplinary of the kids first? Was it the dad or was it the mom?
I think it was the mom. Be real.
You said you think it was the mom. I don't know if I trust you on that, Trevor. It was the dad. Cliff was
so now Trucker's perception is wrong, right?
Wait. I want other people to.
I'm just saying, and I'm just saying, you know, I was back in the day, but the episodes I remember was the mom being like literally disciplining the kid.
How does that work? Cliff worked in the house. Wait, okay, so let me ask you a question. How is that possible when she was a lawyer and she worked away from the home and Cliff worked in the basement of the home.
You ask me?
Yes.
Listen, I said every time I seen her on TV during an episodes, she was disciplining the kids. Now I could be wrong, but I'm talking about me just seeing it. Can you hear me now?
Listen.
And anytime the father tried to say something.
Hold on, Trucker. April Cole said Cliff stayed disciplining the kids. Claire rarely did. That's what I remember because Cliff was the one that was home.
So Emperor Kojak.
That's what I remember.
Yo, can you hear me now, you?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
See, Emperor Kojak. Emperor Kojak. So I know y'all disingenuous. This is why I got a side eye out of you niggas. Let's read this. The other Huxtable effect. 30 years ago, The Cosby Show gave us one of TV's great feminists. In days and weeks following the 2008 election of Barack Obama, there's much discussion of the writer Elisa Valdez Rodriguez dubbed the Huxtable effect. The theory in a nutshell held that the tremendous popularity of The Cosby Show, which premiered 30 years ago, this week normalized the idea of black family for white viewers. Particularly the young voters who grew up watching Dr. Heathcliff and Claire Huxtable. That's crazy how they had different last names. That's feminist in itself right there. That Claire Huxtable wasn't Claire Heathcliff. What? Why did they not call? Why did they just call them both Dr. Cliff and Dr. Claire Huxtable? Why is that feminism? Because now it's separate. It's not attaching the husband's last name to the wife's last name. Raised their 5 children on NBC every Thursday night. When the show debuted in 1984, it focused on an upper middle class black family and general lack of interest in explicitly addressing issues of race. Caused no shortage of second guessing, particularly among black critics. But ultimately, Bill Cosby's decision to tell bold stories about family that's black, emphasizing Huxtables. Similarities to viewers of all races, rather than the differences may have been the key factor in the supposed Huxtable effect. Whether or not Valdez Rodriguez was right about the show's influence on racial attitudes, there's another Huxtable effect that's been less discussed. Even though it concerns a topic more front and center on the Cosby Show itself, the program spent little time openly discussing the race of its protagonists, but frequently returned to the experience of matriarch Claire as a woman who not only maintained a successful career while raising 5 children, but who refused to suffer gladly any fools who questioned her ability to do so. If the Cosby Show's racial politics were merely implied, its gender politics were clear. So, if you want to ask, how did feminism hijack civil rights movement and a lot of black people's racial struggles? This is how. Because you don't talk about race in your show. You want to make the show about assimilating amongst white people culture. But you wanted to showcase how matriarchal the black family is. But Cosby Show racial politics were merely implied. Its gender politics were clear, pointed and decidedly progressive. That's a socialist talking point. Progressive is like a socialist jargon or term. Everyone was so busy making a fuss over the show's blackness that relatively few noted that at the time that Cosby had smuggled proud and vocal feminism in the country's most popular family sitcom. Why should not the show be focused on blackness? It's a black show showing a black family. So black women, this is how they use you, not to showcase you as a black woman, but to use you as a vehicle for their feminism. Right there. Feminism was not new to sitcoms, of course. The Mary Tyler Moore Show made history in 1970 by focusing on a liberated single woman who did not seek, and during the show's 7th season did not find a husband. Let me skip that. Let's look at this. Cosby wanted to change that. The Cosby Show was loosely autobiographical. He was an upper class family with 5 children, 4 girls and a boy, and a mother who was not a housewife. Cosby had married to his college sweetheart, Camille Olivia Hanks, since 1964. In addition to working as her husband's business manager, she supervised a variety of I don't know how to say that word, and educational interests. He initially pitched a detective show. I would solve crimes with my wits, as Columbo was then, and my girlfriend would be a strong woman with her own career. The show was turned down. He would resurrect the concept a decade later for short-lived The Cosby Mystery. When producers Macy Kersey and Tom Warner proposed a Cosby sitcom, the strong woman with her own career idea made the transition if this was 1964. He said at the time, my wife could do the cooking and I could be the guy on the sofa who just lays. Let your mother handle this. But today a lot of things have changed. And I want the show to reflect those changes. A family where the father cooks too and pitches in with the kids and where everyone has responsibilities. So, according to Emperor Kojak on Israel Mills' show, Cliff could have been disciplinary to the children, while Claire is at work, and him being disciplinary to the children, not as like a form of patriarchal show, but to validate feminism. Remember, feminism is saying men need to be cooking and cleaning and taking care of the children too, while the women go to work. That's feminism. So that could be the reason why they showcase Cliff disciplining the children. Well, let's read further. And this is what made the Huxtable household unique on American television in 1984. It wasn't just that Claire Huxtable was a strong, liberated woman with a career. It was that she had a husband and a family who supported and valued her endeavors. Cliff wasn't just a passive husband who tolerated his wife's independence. Where Claire went from Brooklyn to her high-powered Manhattan law firm every day. He worked from home as an OBGYN, no less equally responsible for such traditionally. Female responsibilities as cooking and child care. He sees her division of labor as no big deal, if anything. The Huxtable arrangement looks like a simple common sense. And when her subversion of gender norms is brought to his attention, Cliff is mostly just amused. But Cosby Show addressed those norms head on. Oh, let's see this.
What I really don't understand, Mrs. Huxtable, is why do you divide your time between pursuing your career and raising your family?
I don't think I understand the point.
The point is, your husband makes a tremendous amount of money. Shouldn't you just stay at home with the kids?
That is a sexist statement, young man. Why don't you ask Dr. Huxtable that same question?
Let's go get some rolls.
Come up with another point.
How dare he? Little scraggly leg pup. Come in here and park his feet underneath my dining room table and tell me that I am not a good mother?
Oh dear, he's just...
My dining room table, not our dining room table.
an intelligent boy.
Don't you start with me, Lizzie.
Now listen to me. You know Old Yeller? Well, Mrs. Old Yeller. And Mrs. Old Yeller, she was worse than Old Yeller. Because all Old Yeller did was he just barked. He just said, oh. But Mrs. Old Yeller said, ah. And she bit people.
Dad, there may be a long line at the movie, so we're gonna go now.
All right. It was nice to meet you. Yes, sir. Mrs. Huxtable, it was
Take
great.
care.
Oh no. Crash. See? But these shows don't have an influence on people according to Izzy Banks. Uh-oh. Look at this. I don't know why this doesn't want to play now. Oh, I want this to play so bad. I don't know why it's not playing. Cliff in love. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to play. Y'all gonna make me go watch these damn shows again.
Hello, Mrs. Huxtable. Oh.
Alvin bought flowers for son.
I did.
Again.
Sort of a peace offering.
Yes, Alvin and I were just having a little talk.
Well, that's very nice. Cliff, I have some research to do at the office,
Yes.
but I'll be home in time for dinner.
Then I'll cook something for you.
Would you do that for me?
I'd be happy to.
What will you make?
I don't even know yet.
Will it be something I can recognize?
I hope.
I'll see you there.
Okay.
Goodbye, Elvis.
Bye, Mrs. Huxtable.
Imagine if Cliff, the roles were reversed, and Cliff said that to Claire. Would it be something that I would imagine that I can what he said? What did she say? Let me go play it back. Let me play it back.
Yes, sir.
You're what? Huxtable.
I can recognize?
I hope.
I'll see you.
Could you imagine if Cliff had said that to Claire? Is the food you're gonna cook something that I can recognize? It'd be looked as very sexist and insensitive. But you're not gonna see it because Claire is a beautiful chick and she's doing it subtly. She's doing it with a smile on her face.
And goodbye, Elvis.
Bye, Mrs. Huxtable.
I'll go get something for you.
Dr. Huxtable,
Yes, sir.
your wife goes to work and you cook?
Right.
Well, doesn't it ever bother you that when you come home at night, there's not always a hot meal waiting for you?
Oh, no. Sometimes my wife comes home and there's no hot meal waiting for her. Well, what's your point?
Well, I just feel it confuses things when a woman works. My mother works, and I don't like it. You know, sometimes when I come home, there's nothing to eat.
Well, are your hands broken?
I know how to cook. But why should I when my mom's so good at it?
Denise said that I...
Hi, son.
How you doing, Alvin?
Hi, Dr. Huxtable.
All right.
Thanks for letting me in.
It's okay.
Hi, Mrs. Huxtable.
Hello, Elvin.
Is Sandra ready?
Well, not yet, but she'll be down in a little while. Would you and Dr. Huxtable like some coffee?
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee.
You mean you're gonna get it?
Yeah. You're surprised?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Huxtable. I didn't think you did that kind of thing.
What kind of thing?
You know, serve.
Serve whom?
Serve him.
Oh, serve him. As in serve your man?
Well, yeah.
Let me tell you something, Elvis. You see, I am not serving Dr. Huxtable, okay?
Okay.
That's the kind of thing that goes on in a restaurant. Now, I'm going to bring him a cup of coffee, just like he brought me a cup of coffee this morning. And that, young man, is what marriage is made of. It is give and take 50-50. And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never going to have anybody bringing you anything anywhere.
Izzy Bands. My man Izzy Bands. Emperor Kojak. You may say that Cliff was disciplining the children, but he was disciplining the children from a feminist point of view. See, traditionally, women discipline the children and raise the children, not the dudes. All the dudes did was reinforce what the women were saying, what the women were disciplining the kids with. So, say for example, bedtime was 9 o'clock or 9 p.m., and the mother was trying to get the kid to the bed, and the kid didn't want to go. The father would come in to reinforce the mother as a nuclear deterrent. You see what I'm saying? If it was a traditional household, Claire would be cooking and cleaning, disciplining the children. Cliff would come home to a home cooked meal and to a happy home. But clearly, as you heard, maybe let me play this again. Maybe y'all didn't hear this loud enough. Maybe let me play this again. Play this again. Y'all didn't hear it. You ain't hearing this shit at all. Play this again.
Then I'll put something for you.
Would you do that for me?
I'd be happy to.
What will you make?
I don't even know yet.
Will it be something I can recognize?
Oh,
I'll see you there. And goodbye, Elvis.
Bye, Mrs. Huxtable.
I'll go get some for you.
Dr. Huxtable,
Yes, sir.
your wife goes to work and you cook?
Right.
Well, doesn't it ever bother you that when you come home at night, there's not always a hot meal waiting for you?
Oh, no. Sometimes my wife comes home and there's no hot meal waiting for her. What's your point?
Well, I just feel it confuses things when a woman works. My mother works, and I don't like it. You know, sometimes when I come home, there's nothing to eat.
Well, are your hands broken?
I know how to cook. But why should I when my mom's so good at it?
Denise said that I...
Hi, son.
How you doing, Alvin?
Hi, Dr. Huxtable.
All right.
Thanks for letting me in. Hi, Mrs. Huxtable.
Hello, Elvin.
Is Sandra ready?
Well, not yet, but she'll be down in a little while. Would you and Dr. Huxtable like some coffee?
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee.
You mean you're gonna get it?
Yes. You're surprised?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Huxtable. I didn't think you did that kind of thing.
What kind of thing?
You know, serve.
Serve whom?
Serve him.
Does not your Bible
Serve your man.
tell you to love and serve and obey your husband? Just like your Bible tells your man to protect your wife and provide for your wife? I'm telling you, bro. You don't want to tell me that that doesn't have an effect on black women and on black culture and how we think and how we date today? Easy man?
You see, I am not serving Dr. Huxtable, okay?
Okay.
That's the kind of thing that goes on in a restaurant. Now, I'm going to bring him a cup of coffee, just like he brought me a cup of coffee this morning. And that, young man, is what marriage is made of. It is give and take 50-50. And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never going to have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever.
Drop that macho attitude. So what this show did, it turned being masculine, a traditional male that's supposed to be a boss of his household, that where a woman is supposed to be in So let me just break it down like this, right? A lot of these feminists are under the pretense of that cooking and cleaning and being of service to your husband is something negative. Not realizing that you're being of service to your husband while he's protecting and providing you resources. Yes, the man is the husband, he's the boss, and you're supposed to take care of your husband. But they miss the fact that he's supposed to be taking care of you too, right? You're supposed to be cooking and cleaning in order to keep that man. That's the balance. And a lot of you dudes are arguing, listening to these women talking about they don't want 50-50. 50-50 was a feminist female woman's idea. And the reason why they wanted to do 50-50 is because if the man paid 100%, he had all the power and the say so in the relationship. And the fact that Cliff was a doctor and Claire was a lawyer, but Cliff still made more money than Claire says a lot. Claire did not have to be a lawyer. She could have been a stay-at-home wife.
Now, what would you like in your coffee?
Maybe I.
I was thinking about Alvin.
Yeah, what were you thinking, Robin?
Well, I was just supposing what would happen if he asked Sandra to marry him.
Never.
Never?
Never. I say never would I allow such a thing to happen.
Yeah, but
Never.
Claire,
Not while I'm living, not even when I'm dead.
yeah,
no.
but fine. No, it's,
No. I have spent my entire life waiting for Sandra to dump that boy.
Yeah, but you haven't spent your entire life with Alvin. Come on.
Well, it feels like it. The
Yeah.
boy's attitudes towards women are downright primitive. He thinks that the man is the king. The woman is supposed to sit there and just fulfill his every wish and command. No.
No, but the boy's changed considerably since those.
Do you love the king's protection? Do you love that the fact that the king provides and is willing to die and risk his life for you? Do you love the king's structure that he provides? Do you love the king's food that he puts on the table?
Those times, and look at what you.
Oh, hold on. This is what trained a lot of black women. My cat is in the background. This is what trained a lot of black women to reject a lot of good dudes. Right? Because she doesn't want Elvin to be with Denise because Elvin is a more traditional guy. That expects the woman to come home, cook, and clean, and be obey and be submissive to him, while he works and he provides her the money. And he's in charge. That's why she doesn't want. Like, this is a program. This is a training. This is what I'm trying to tell Izzy Bands. But y'all didn't want to listen.
You changed me.
I do not want Sandra to go through
Whoa!
you.
Did how you changed me. Changed considerably since those times, and look at what you did. How you changed me.
This is why black women think they can change a nigga. This is why black women think they can build a dude. This is what fucks up a lot of relationships with them. Because in reality, if you were a strong ass traditional dude, you're not gonna change that nigga from being traditional. And what he's gonna end up doing is rejecting you and dismissing you from the table. You mean to tell me that this is not a problem? Cliff is being a whole simp right here. A lot of y'all niggas, including Izzy Bands, will call this nigga a sucker. Cliff a sucker right now, or his whole simp. My fault. A lot of you, if y'all call Travis Hunter for doing some shit like this a simp, or a sucker, or a lame. You've called Russell Wilson a sucker or a lame or a simp. You called Steve Harvey a simp for doing what Cliff is doing here right now. Y'all mean to tell me y'all don't remember this?
I do not want Sandra to go through what I went through with you.
But I wasn't. All I'm just saying is I just said suppose.
Cliff, you can suppose all you like, okay? But if that boy ever asks my daughter to marry him, it will be the last words he utters.
My daughter, not our daughter? That's very matriarchal right there. This is why women will talk about my kids and not our children. And look how the father doesn't have a say so in it. Cliff doesn't have a say in that situation. I'm glad I found this article.
Family.
Give it a rest, Denise.
There we go again. Male domination.
Uh-oh.
Male domination. The man's just trying to eat his chicken in peace. And I don't know why I'm sitting here eating this stupid little wing. Give me a breast. A big one. Oh. What's going on?
It started when Peter wanted to get a strip for Martin's faction.
What's wrong with that?
Grandpa, what's wrong with that? Did you have a stripper at your bachelor party?
No. Well, she was more of a fan dancer. Her name was Fatima. She was a very talented performer. And she had these blue ostrich feathers, and she'd hold them in front of herself. And she'd do this dance to the music of Bésame Mucho. Bésame mucho. And she'd give you a little shoulder. And then take it back. Give you a little leg. Take it right back. Man, she was something.
Grandma, didn't that bother you?
No, we didn't think too much of those things then.
Yeah, good old days. Oh, that sounds so sexist.
Well, times were different. You couldn't make a big deal out of everything. You know, if you spend all your time fussing over points of contention between men and women, you're not going to have much time for romance.
This woman knows what she's talking about.
Come on, Russell, let's put these on plates.
Okay, Bésame.
Yes, they must have some idea of what they're talking about. They've been married 50 years.
You suppose we could manage to let a few things slide?
I hated that you had that woman at your bachelor party.
Why didn't you say something?
Well, those were the times that we kept those things to ourselves.
Yeah, you mean you've been holding this in for 54 years, Anna? I am no mind reader.
Oh, and while we're at it, I hate that fan dance story. Every time I hear it, it sickens me. Give me a little shoulder and take it right back. And give me a little leg and take it right back.
Well, I didn't know that.
Why do you think I always leave the room?
To make coffee. No?
To make coffee and kick the wall. Now grab these tarts that you love so much.
Lemon tart! Oh, I love those.
Yes, thank
Oh boy, we in trouble. I'm gonna skip past all of this. No, not that. Let me settle.
You know, yes, I can hear you. Can't hear me?
Settle for feminism. In an American country where feminism is in the air you breathe, you're not really set.
Knows that they know each other, right? They let them win, they let them walk off with the money, right? And then they get you in the scheme, right? So in order for someone, this is what I'm saying, in order for someone to be schemed or scammed, they have to want something. About a vote today, these other brothers, and it's about kings, not queens. At the end of the day, yes, any pawn could be a queen. It's about kings, not queens. It's not won or lost. Happens. It never happens, or not on the chess to be king. It never happens. Well, because that would think about that. Let's get into that. We can get into that. That's cool. I'm gonna $5. Think about that. All of this shit is a farce. It's not for nothing. It's a farce. The president is not elected. It's a
I want to go into this part of what Izzy Bands was saying.
I fighting against certain things. You have the black people on our side fighting for left.
Settle for feminism. In an American country where feminism is in the air you breathe.
I'm tired of niggas saying that voting doesn't matter and voting is not power. How the fuck voting is not power? When we have a whole constitution, and one of the constitutions gives the rights of voting power to black people and to women. The 19th Amendment gives women the power to vote. And one of the arguments from the hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I want it to be said this way.
You're not really settling for feminism. Because you say settling for feminism like guys in America are these traditional guys, and they're not. You're not settling for anything. You're getting with somebody who has the values that you want. Like, that's all you're doing. As far as the feminism part, unless you grew up in the Middle East and you came to America or something like that, and I don't know, you're not settling for feminism. You are in feminist country USA. So you're getting what you're used to.
Let me just say this, Frieza. I guess what I'm saying is, and this is the distinction I was trying to make with Angry Man. When I say that, I'm talking about the third wave of feminism, meaning that woman wants to be in charge, that woman wants to run things, that woman wants
Yeah, but when you say when Angry Man was saying feminism in general, right? You're talking about third wave feminism. Angry Man was saying in general feminism. In general, the core concept of feminism was that women can buy cars, women can vote, women can own their own land. What does that mean? Women don't have to go to a man to get her own land. Women don't have to get to a man to get her own car. She doesn't need a man to vote for her. Before, a man voted for the house. So if a man was Republican, she was Republican. That's how that worked. And the whole point behind women's suffrage group and feminism in general, the core concept of feminism, was so that women can have autonomy over what they wanted to do. So that's what Angry Man was referring to. If you're talking about third wave feminism, now you're getting into the more subjective specifics. Angry Man was being in general.
more than egalitarianism. That woman wants more than equal rights. That woman wants more than a right to vote, more than a right to work, more than a right that she wants more rights than you, basically. That's what I'm talking. When I say feminism, that's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about the first wave of feminism because that's already a done deal. That's already, like you said, and I agree with Angry Man, it's already ingrained into society. Women already have the right to vote. Women already can work if they want to. They can buy land if they want to. They can buy property. They have driver's license. So that, all of that other stuff, egalitarianism is out the window. That's already a done deal, right? I'm talking about the third wave, which is the wave of now that we got equal rights, we want to run-ish. We want to take over. Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? That is what I'm talking about. And that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, are you going to settle for that? That's what I'm. Does that make sense? Or you there, Frieza?
Yeah, it makes sense, but in my mind, it's all connected, bro. Like there's not much of a step from first wave to third wave in my mind. Like you've already bent the knee at the first wave. Yeah. And anytime you bend the knee at the beginning, you're gonna keep bending the knee. It's just like how there was a time where you could smoke cigarettes in restaurants and indoors and stuff, and then it turned into, hey, I understand that you guys want to smoke your cigarettes, and you're welcome to it, but can you smoke them over there? Oh, okay, cool. You end up over there. It's still an issue. Hey, I know you're over here smoking cigarettes and stuff, but we need you to smoke outside. Cool. You keep bending the knee enough times, you end up in, we don't care about the first wave of feminism. We care about the third wave of feminism, when it's all feminism.
And while you're bending the knee, you're giving them power.
Hold on. Hold on. I understand, but okay. This is where I gotta part ways with y'all. I get what you're saying, but the issue that I have with it, and that's pretty much the argument that AM was making the other day, and I understand it, right? But this is where I part ways, right? Why can't women have the right to vote, right? Why can't women have the right to decide if they're gonna have a job or not? All women, do you realize that all women are not even capable of having children? Do you realize that all women don't even want to have a husband or don't want to have a family? And some of them don't want to because they're not even capable, they're barren and they can't have children. So
answer that after you done?
Hold on real quick. Yeah, after I get the statement out, sure. So the thing about it is, why realize that all women are not even capable.
Izzy Band said something right here.
At the beginning, you're gonna keep bending the knee. It's just like how there was a time where you could smoke. You know, I understand that.
And the brother speaking about bending the knee, he's absolutely correct. Right? Obviously, we can't take back what women have been given today, because the donkey's already escaped, gone out the door. So you can't put back the jack in the box. You know what I'm saying? Or as we say in Jamaica, well, gone better morning can't go good that evening. See what I'm saying? Or well, gone better evening can't go gone good that morning. Which means what's done is done. So you can't take it back, right? But we're just looking at the fact that this is what caused the issues that we're in today. Because we bent the knee at feminism, not me as in myself, because the men of the past bent the knee at feminism the first time, and they didn't pay attention. Then they bent the knee the second time, it got worse. Then they bent the knee the third time, it got worse. See what I'm saying? That's an issue. And then what did it transfer into? Men bent the knee to all this LGBT people and all-inclusiveness people. They bent the knee to those people, group of people. And look at the problems that that's causing. Now you have transformer people that you can't tell if this is a boy or a girl. And now you have trans people who you can't tell if this is a boy or girl, saying that they're not going to tell the person, the dude that they're dating, if she was born a male or it was born a male. That they're going to lie to men on the dating market. That could cause a lot of problems. Let's go into it.
You smoke your cigarettes, and you're welcome to it, but can you smoke them over there? Oh, okay, cool. You end up over there. It's still an issue. Hey, I know you're over here smoking cigarettes and stuff, but we need you to smoke outside. Cool. You keep bending the knee enough times, you end up in, we don't care about the first wave of feminism. We care about the third wave of feminism, when it's all feminism.
But
And while you're better than me, you're giving them power.
Hold on.
They're taking it.
Hold on. I understand. But okay. This is where I gotta part ways with y'all. I get what you're saying, but the issue that I have with it, and that's pretty much the argument that AM was making the other day, and I understand it, right? But this is where I part ways, right? Why can't women have the right to vote?
And Israel Mills, he's going to shoot himself in the foot. But with that, when he asks, why can't women have the right to vote? He's going to shoot himself in the foot as he keeps talking.
Right? Why can't women have the right to decide if they're going to have a job or not? All women, do you realize that all women are not even capable of having children? Do you realize that all women don't even want to have a husband or don't want to have a family? And some of them don't want to because they're not even capable of their bearing and they can't have children. So
Can I answer that after you're done?
Hold on real quick. Yeah, after I get the statement out, sure.
Hold on, but by that logic, not every man wants to get married either. Not every man wants to be in a relationship either. Not every man wants to have a wife and kid. Not every man is even capable of having children. But it doesn't stop men from going out there and having a life and doing what they need to be doing and being a man. So I get what you're saying about the women, right? That doesn't mean that they can't own a land. Now, what Izzy Benz is saying now, right? Back in the time, or the time before mine, women had to get into a relationship with a man to be able to get land and get resources and access to those type of things, right? Whereas if a man didn't get married or he didn't get into a relationship or he didn't want to get anything, he still had the capability of owning land and money and monetary things, right? But guess what? The women still benefited from what the men had provided, even if they were in a relationship or not. The only thing that they didn't have the capability of doing was owning land or property or getting a license or driving a car or voting. That's the only thing they didn't get. But pretty much, they still benefited outside of a relationship or marriage to whatever the men in general were doing. You feel me? No, you could have created laws and legislation to be able to make women to be able to vote, to own homes and all these things. Nobody's saying we got to take that stuff away from them. What we're saying is that they need to be held accountable to the same laws and regulations that the men are held accountable to. And yes, even though we're not equal, women are still humans. They still have autonomy, and they can still be very dangerous. So there still has to be law and consequences for them, and that's been the problem. But Izzy Bands hasn't shot itself in the foot yet. Stick a pin.
Thing about it is, why would we try to restrict that being able to vote, being able to work, if that's what they want to do, or whatever the case may be? Why would we want to restrict that instead of saying, okay, well, you know what I'm saying? They're people, they're sentient beings, okay? Yeah, they can work, they right. But there's a difference between having that right and...
Because what Izzy Bands doesn't understand is that when they were given that right, they didn't just settle for that right. They just say, okay, cool, we respect and we love the men for giving us this ability. They said, no, we're going to take advantage of this to get more from them and to overthrow them eventually, which they almost did with the election.
Taking over, like there's a clear distinction and clear difference between that. Why don't y'all see it that way? Go ahead. Yardy, you got it. And then
real quick before you go, because I know you're responding to me.
See, if I cut a nigga off on the show, I gotta sit down and don't say nothing. But a nigga gets to cut me off on the show.
I have no problem with any of it. My thing is, men have the right to choose not to deal with it. That's where I'm at this point, because you're not gonna put that, you're not gonna be able to put that back in the bottle. It's already out. It is what it is. But
yeah, but the problem is what I asked that brother, what are we gonna do when we have the other option but to deal with it? That's what I'm saying. That's what like you're not understanding is that the problem can eventually become bigger and bigger and bigger till you don't have a choice whether you want to deal with it or not. You're gonna just be dealing with it. It's like we got like in New York City, we got to deal with pollution and pollution and certain respiratory issues because of the pollution in the air. Where we're dealing with that shit every day, 24/7, right? Eventually, the problem with women is gonna get big and big and big, and you're not gonna have a choice whether you want to deal with it or not. It's gonna just become normal, like feminism has become normalized.
Men don't have to deal with it if they don't want to. My whole thing was, I just don't understand that kind of thinking from guys who grew up in feminist countries where it's full feminism, and they feel like they have to settle for a feminist in an area that you grew up with nothing but feminism. Like, you're not really settling.
But that's it is if you break it down. See, if you look at it, the reason why I said that is because if you look at it differently, like I do, between the first wave and the third wave, that's why, right? If you look at it like, hey, I don't mind if women have the right to vote. I don't mind if women want to work, if that's what they want to do. I don't mind that. I do mind women trying to take over and trying to be men. I do mind.
And see, I agree with Izzy Bands right there. The problem is that the women said, fuck what you don't mind. We don't care if you don't mind that shit. We're gonna do this shit anyway. That's what he's not seeing. And that's what I'm trying to get him to understand. Like, you might not mind something, but you can't control how other people see things. That's the problem. You can't control the fact that you mind if, well, you don't want the women to take over, rule over you, or be disrespectful to you. But the women can say, well, we don't give a shit what you don't care about. Which they've said it. And they've put action to what they said they're going to do. That's what y'all not getting. Women of the third wave feminism have put action to what they say they're going to do. They standing on business. And they don't give a fuck that that's not what your intention was. They care about what their intention is, not what your intention was. Let's go.
On that, right? I don't want women to be men. I want women to be women, men to be men, and things to be like that, right? And that's okay. We work together.
So you
Right, I get that's what you're saying. That's what you want. But now when you give women who have autonomy, right, to think the way they think and then put action to what they think about, they can say we don't give a shit that Izzy Banks want women to be women and men to be men. This is what we want. I just played you Bill Cosby just now. And how feminism started. I just played you that. Did Claire, a feminist, give a shit about what Cliff wanted for his household? No. She didn't even care what her daughters wanted. But guess what? All this LGBT ideas, all these transformer ideas, all these ideas of intersectional groups and identity politics, all of these things were women's ideas. Because they had the power to vote. They voted in certain weak dudes into power, like Joe Biden, to push their agendas. They voted men like Joe Biden, like Bill Clinton, like Barack Obama, who are henpecked, simp, weirdo leftists. Voted them in power to get them to push female dumbasses. And the reason why women push these things is because women were trying to spite the patriarchy. Because patriarchal traditional men are against LGBT stuff. They're against transformer stuff. They're against deletion of the babies. Because what you gotta understand is that deleting the babies, right? That's a man's sperm or life force. That's important to a man to produce his legacy, his lineage. So that's why women were fighting for abortion. It was to fight against the patriarchy. All these things, promiscuous women, transformers, intersectional groups, all inclusion, all these things were women using these things to go against the patriarchy, because the patriarchy does not like these things in his house. And what you men have done is, if you have ignored the women putting things in your environment that have become a danger to you and your environment or to your castle. And that's what I'm trying to show you guys. I'm showing you, not fear. Fear is something about what has not happened already. I'm showing you, or was trying to show people on Izzy Band's channel, what had already happened and the steps that got us here today, so that in the future we don't repeat what we've been doing today. That's what I'm trying to say. Because if we don't remember history, we're doomed to repeat that bullshit. We don't want to repeat today, tomorrow.
So and before we move on, so you're kind of in the gray with it, whereas I'm kind of more of like a black and white. Like you see the sliding scale in between.
Yeah, and I think I'm like that with most things, because I understand that most things have nuance to it. Most things have both positions. Nothing in America is really black and white, if you really want to be honest. If you really look at things, there's very few things, if any, that's really black and white. It's much more complicated. It's much more, you know what I'm saying? It's much more nuanced. It's much more gray area than we like to admit.
Yeah, and also too, I think in the space, people are like conditioned to see the worst of it all, right? So you'll have people in the space that'll show like a guy getting ran through the coals in court, right? Or like a chick burning a dude's car or something like that. And they'll portray all that stuff like that stuff is normal for all women, or most women. or even most feminists. That's not the case. Those are like crazy. Most feminists are like Claire, to the point where
I just showed you what Claire's feminism is like.
things are subtle. It's not out there like that. The chick will do subtle things to undermine you. That's most feminist women. And the reason why I say that is because people got to move from this whole feminist idea that this idea. I don't know if all feminism is bad. I'm gonna be personal. I'll be straight up with you. Like, I don't think at this point, in regards to the whole settling for feminism, I don't think it's all bad. I think you have to pick and choose. Either that, or you have to go to the Middle East or someplace where women don't have rights. But then again, since you're an outsider, you're not going to be able to get in like that, like you think you are, because everything's insulated to a certain degree. So it's your world, man. Pick and choose how you want to run it. You have autonomy, do what you do. That's where I'm at with it at this point.
Yeah, go ahead, Yardy King. You got it, man.
To your argument earlier is, you saw what happened with the election, right? How people was able to influence women to vote a certain way and to vote for something stupid. So that's the issue with giving women, I hate to say it, certain freedoms to vote for certain things, where all you gotta do is influence to vote for something bad and they'll vote for it. Now, lucky enough, the white women and the Latin women kind of saved the day by voting for conservatives. If you look at the black culture, the black community, most of our women, I think, 95% of them voted for.
What I said there, right? The problem is we giving women too many freedoms without consequences and accountability. See, men, we have freedoms, but there's a consequence for when we do something we're not supposed to be doing. When we delete somebody, when we rob somebody, when we steal from somebody, when we infringe on somebody else's freedoms. There's consequences for us when we do that. But there's barely, if any, for when women do something. Or if they do get a consequence, it's a lesser sentence than what it is for a dude. We see that oftentimes in media, where a female student will have sex with an underage child, a male child, and she'll get a lesser sentence. Or she'll get pregnant by an underage child, and when that child becomes of age, she can put him on child support. Right? So, what I should have said is that we've given women freedoms without consequences and accountability. Now, let's go in here. This is where, listen to where Izzy Bands is going to shoot herself in the foot.
The Democrats or the left. And they were arguing with their men and basically shaming their men. If you don't vote for this, we're going to vote.
Remember, Izzy Bands said, why shouldn't women have the right to vote? This is why I brought this up, right?
See, if you don't vote for that, we don't give you no box. See what I'm saying? So now, if you have women who have that much power and freedom, they can vote for something stupid that's going to go into the environment and mess it up. And then guess who's going to take the blame? The men, because they're going to say we allowed them to do that. So we got to be careful of opposition and leadership and what we give power to and we allow. And that's what happened with first wave feminism. We bent the knee, like your mother said. It gave them power. Second wave feminism, we bent the knee to that. It gave them power. Third wave feminism, look what's manifesting to.
But that's not true. Historically, the first wave of feminism did not give women power. That's absolutely not the truth.
So what did it give them?
What? If first wave feminism is giving women the ability to vote, women the ability to own a house, ability to buy a car, ability to own land. Land is power. Voting is power. This is where Izzy Bands is going to shoot herself in the foot.
Gave them the right to vote, the right to work, or whatever the case may be. But
so that's not power?
No, hold on, no, that's not power. That's not work. That's not power. So let me explain. Power is power. That's not power. So this is the thing, right? Now I can understand the argument. I'm not gonna be dissing.
But you are
Virginia is
disingenuous.
intellectually dishonest. I understand the argument that says, yo, there's more women than men in America. So therefore, if all the women have a particular
If
a perspective, then that
if that's not part of why black folks vote for more reparations. Why are black folks complaining about not having land and certain things? If voting is not power.
going to be a large number of women, right? But I think what a lot of people are missing is that allegedly in America, so-called black people, alleged black people, whatever you want to call it, only make up 14% of the American population. Of that, yes, the majority are women, to the tune of 2 million more women than men. However, that is still not a large enough number to sway the elections like you think that it would be, right? Now,
What?
if all the women voted a particular way, then you would have a point. But this is the thing. Historically, white women, a lot of them just wanted the right to vote, the right to vote, the right to work, or whatever the case may be.
Easy minds. If they just wanted the right to work or they wanted the right to vote, but not use it, that's stupid. Because they've used their right to vote. That's how they got themselves in positions of senatorship. That's how they've become governors. This is how they've become mayors. This is how they became in the Senate. Right? This is why a lot of companies with DEI that benefited more white women, and white women took advantage of DEI and went to work. There are a lot of white women who are CEOs of companies right now. Managers at your local restaurants like a Shake Shack or a Smashburger. They're white women in the workforce, integrated in the workforce. So not only do they want the right to things, they got the right and they utilize those rights. What are we saying?
To have it, right? Now, historically, culturally, once they got it, a lot of them were good because they was like, oh, well, yeah, if I want to. But then they got out there like, I don't really want that. Like, you see a lot of, of the Caucasian women on TikTok, whatever the case may be, and they're speaking up against this so-called feministic ideology.
The only reason why they're speaking up against the feminist ideology is because they're lazy. See what I'm saying? That's it. They're just lazy. Because I bet you that those women are still not going to follow and obey and respect a white dude. Patriarchy.
Whatever the case may be. However, a lot of our women seem to have picked it up. The point is that it's not as much of a reach as you think. And we saw that in this election, like you said. So them having the right to vote does not necessarily mean that they're going to get whatever that they vote for, right? And
so then, why would they need the? This is where he shoots himself in the foot. Why would we need them to get the right to vote if they're not going to get what they voted for? Why would they need their right to vote if they're not going to get what they voted for? Why would women need the right to vote if they're not going to get what they voted for anyway? It doesn't make any sense. Take away some shit they don't need if it's not going to give it to them anyway. And what you talking about? They're not going to get what they want to vote for. The left and all these LGBT community people, they're getting what they voted for. Look at all these trans people able to get beta blockers to change their sex as their kids. Look at how powerful the LGBT got powerful. Look how they're affecting the video games. They're affecting what you watch in your cartoons. That's power. And they voted for these things and they got things passed into law. What do you mean vote? What do you mean you're not going to get what you vote for? So why give black people the right to vote with the 15th Amendment? Why did the Democrats of that time who were racist at that time tried to suppress black voters. Do you know the reason why women didn't get the right to vote? Because most women during the South were white Democrats and they outnumbered the black community. So if you gave white women Democrats the right to vote before the black man would have never been free because those white women were racist. And you have people like Susan B. Anthony that said, I would rather cut my right hand off than give them black men, them Negroes, the right to vote before me, and access to the resources before me. So if you had given those white women who were racist against black men the right to vote, your black ass would have never been free today. Because they would have voted and made sure you would have not gotten power. Go look up the history. Look up the history of the reason why black men got the right to vote first by the Republicans with the 15th Amendment before women got the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. Because white women outnumbered the black community. If they got the right to vote first, black men would have never got free. That's power. That's get for what you vote for. Why do we have a constitution? If all this shit is an illusion.
And number one, hold on. Number one. Number two, when you start taking away people's quote unquote rights or privileges, where do you stop? And that's the thing, right? So if you're saying, hey, women, they could easily go back to, and that's why they started combining these things, which I wish they never would, but that's why they started combining the civil rights, put women in it. They put LGBT legitimate in it. They put hunchbacks in it. They put Asians in it. They put, well, unless it comes time to giving them something. They put Hispanics in it unless it comes time to giving them something. But this is the thing, and they commandeered that particular struggle, or whatever the case may be, right? And so that's the problem. The problem is that, it's not that, if they have the right to vote, that it's just automatic, they got power and they're automatically taking over. That's not what it is. That's not what the deal is.
Yes, because if those women say we hate patriarchy, we hate men, and they decided to vote against that, they could do that. They almost did it. I'm trying to look up for these statistics for these votes by race and gender. Oh, all this shit that the president ain't elected, the motherfucker is selected. I don't, man. And they're talking as if I don't listen. Let me tell y'all something. I did all of that, black pope versus the white pope, the hit of the hand, the aristocrat shit in high school. I had a teacher by the name of Glenn Harding. He teach us a lot of I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but for lack of a better word or term, conspiracy theory. He taught us that stuff in high school. So I understand all of that. I understand the hidden hand, the hidden government, the shadow government. I understand all of that. But guess what? I cannot touch a shadow. I don't have the power enough to take on the king behind the scenes. Or as the man behind the iron curtain. I don't know him. I can't see that motherfucker. Right now, I have to deal with the pawns. And right now, the nigga behind the damn iron curtain is using the wait till Izzy Man get there. All right, so Harris struggled relative to Biden in 2020 among men and younger voters and non-college voters who are black and Hispanic voters. Look at this. White men. Let me see. We get some action. Oh, here we go. Let me see. Trying to look for the voter statistics by gender. Hold on. Black women voted for Harris by 90%. Black men voted for Harris by 71%. White men voted for Donald Trump by 30. No, white men voted for Donald Trump 60%. White women voted for Donald Trump by 53%. White 55. So okay, cool. Black. See, so look at this. Black men voted for Donald Trump for Biden by 71%. Right. Mind you, this 13% of black people is the tiebreaker between white and Hispanic. That's what makes powerful the vote of black people. That 13% is the tiebreaker. All right, let's go. Let's go back to Izzy Banks. Because it's usually split down the middle. You have white people that vote Democrat and you have white people that vote Republican. Black folks is the 13%. That's the tiebreaker. That's the power in your vote.
What the truth is. It's a psyop. It's a play to keep people at odds with each other and keep people bickering and fighting. Like, they don't have no more power than you or I. Now, do I agree that a lot of legislation tends to float their way? Now, yes. And what?
That's power, Negro. If legislation is floating their way because of how they're voting, that's power. If the legislation of the child support court and how all these things affect men, look how relationships are set up. When you divorce the chick, say she cheated on you in the marriage, and now the man has to pay for that illegitimate kid. That's something that Bill Clinton passed into law, and women voted for, giving women power based off the Duluth model. A lot of reasons why a lot of brothers is in jail, when the police show up to your house and arrest the man automatically first, that's from the Duluth model. Well, you have to divorce a chick because she cheated on you and she takes half your shit from you. That's from the Duluth model. That's how much power that Bill Clinton, I forgot what the law he passed, but no fault divorce, that benefited women. That's power. Because women voted and they complained about something. That's power. The 1994 crime bill that took away a lot of black men out the households, that put a lot of innocent black men in jail for some shit they didn't do. This is why you have shit like the Innocence Project. Now coming back and saying, well, based upon DNA evidence or based upon how certain unlawful practices was going on, this black person is innocent. He got sent to jail for something he didn't do because of Joe Biden's crime bill. This is why this is where the prison industry comes from. This is why a lot of judges locked a lot of brothers up to get commissions put through their pockets. Come on, man. Izzy Banks. The king behind the scenes, who was pulling the strings behind the scenes, is using the pawns to fuck us up. Well, you want to say Joe Biden or Donald Trump, they're just pawns, and there's a hidden government behind Donald Trump, and there's a hidden hand behind Joe Biden fucking shit up. They're using one hell of a powerful pawn, bro. I understand all of that. I'm not a noob to that. I've studied a lot of this stuff in high school. I've been to the Moorish Science Temple of America out here in New York City. I studied amongst them. I know these stuff. I listen to Phil Valentine, so I understand metaphysics and things behind the scenes. But guess what? I cannot touch that shit. I only can deal what's in my face that I can touch, I can grab. Let's continue.
But the reason for that is, again, the psyop is to keep us at odds, to keep us messed up, and to keep money going out of our pockets, and to keep us in flux, right? And that way we can't concentrate on what the real issues are, and that way we can't really focus on what's really going on, and we can't focus on how to get more empowered, right? So at the end of the day, to worry about if women have the right to vote or the right to work, I think is an exercise in futility, and I think is not really intelligent. I don't see that as being a problem. Now, if you're talking about them taking over, if you're talking about them ruling,
how is that not intelligent? Let me look up what the debt for women. $900. Buckler. $929 billion. Hold on. $929 billion in student loan debts belong to women. What is the average debt for women? Women hold about 65% of the overwhelming $1.6 trillion in student debt in the United States. Woo! If that's not a problem. And then the taxpayers have to pay that back. Credit card debt by gender. Ha! Women are stereotypically seen as irresponsible spenders, but the data doesn't back this up. According to the 2000 experience study, men carry more debt than women across all categories, including credit cards. Study found out men have women. What? About $135? Man, they just try to cover women's ass. About $125? Let's see this. I don't believe that. So now this is saying that the average woman has more credit card debt. So one study said that men have more credit card debt. This saying that is that women have more average credit card debt than men. This is from Yahoo Finances. The average woman has more credit card debt than you think. See how you compare. I'm not going to go into this. But that's a problem. If you have women out here that is getting into more credit card debt, that at the end of the day, the nation, us taxpayers, are going to have to compensate for that now. Right? Whereas if it's just men spending money or shit, now we have to ask, what is the credit card debt that men are getting into? You feel me? We're not going to excuse the men or anything, but at least with the men, we can hold the men accountable for the give them consequences for certain things. What can we hold the women accountable for their debt? See what I'm saying? But to sit there and think that, you know, women not having the right to vote, women have the right to vote. And I'm not saying that you take away the right for them to vote, you take the right from them from getting jobs. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the problem can be if women decide to flip the switch like they've been doing altogether, we'd be in problems. We've seen their capabilities in the past couple of years. Before that, it's like y'all don't want to pay attention to it. Look how powerful the impact black women had on the black man's image. Simply because black women had a media platform, a public media platform, but black men didn't. And black women were just telling lies on black men, lies upon lies on us. And we wasn't able to defend it because we didn't have the same public platform. To the point where the whole world were repeating it. You even have white dudes repeating it. And if black men like Angry Man, Tommy Sotomayor didn't step on the internet to say, wait a minute, these is lies. Here go the real story. Black men, the black women would have gotten away with it too, kids. Scooby-Doo. Look at the effect that Color Purple had on the black man's image. Put black men in this, like we're just these oppressors of black women. Look what Oprah has done to the black male image. You mean to tell me that shouldn't be checked? That shouldn't be talked about? That's not affected you at the individual level? How people see you as an individual. Look at how we talk about the influence of hip hop. Fuck black women. Look at hip hop. Look how that has influenced our image. Look how black women are influenced. Look at how black women are in hip hop today, carrying themselves. Look how they're influencing other women to be like that. And when I walk outside, I'm seeing the sexy reds in real life. Been seeing it before the sexy reds and the Ice Spices of the world. They were around, but it wasn't so heavy. That was heavy. And see, heavy lies the crown that the king puts on his head. Because as a king, you cannot be introspective or introverted all the time. You cannot be self-absorbed because your responsibility is to maintain your castle, maintain your kingdom, make sure that the environment has checks and balances and be in control of it, and provide consequences and repercussions to those that violate your rules and your objectives. Yeah, you focus on yourself, but at the same time, you got to pay attention to the people that's in your environment and what they're doing because they could cause some problems in you with your environment and fuck it up.
Them being the majority society or the majority class in power, then yes, that's problematic. But you don't have to take their right to vote or their right to work in order to.
What happens when you tell a kid, your child, come home before 7 p.m., but the child comes home at 10 p.m.? What do? You take away the Xbox, you take away the Game Boy, you take away certain things, you give them more chores, you reprimand them. What happens at your job if they find out that you're lacking in your workstation? What do? They reprimand you, they pull you to the side, and they say, hey, you lacking somewhere. They dock your pay. Why are we afraid to do this with women? Why are y'all so afraid? Maybe if women know that shit, the men are going to give us a consequence. And I'm not talking about a physical consequence. That not only do the men, if we fuck up, the men are going to take away certain things from us. Maybe they'll stop doing what they're doing. You ever thought about that? But y'all are afraid to do that.
not allowing them to take over.
Okay, is. You keep saying that.
That's a fact.
How could voting have no power if these politicians fight for a vote all the time? Obviously has power. And why did they pander to women and black people? And they pander to these different identity groups if voting has no power.
Okay, so if voting had power, then wouldn't so-called black people in America be in a much better position? We've been voting since the 60s. Why haven't people...
They've been voting Democrat since the 60s. Black folks was gaining power when they were voting Republican since the 60s. When they were conservatives, they were gaining power. Remember, black folks before the 60s, they voted Republican and they were conservative. And they had their own baseball leagues, their own hospitals. So they was gaining power during the 60s. And even when they switched to the Democrat and they were voting Democrat, they were gaining power with that too. Integration, remember that?
Got in a litigiously better position, and they've been voting since the 60s and 70s.
Because you have black people on our side fighting against certain things. You have the black people on our side fighting for leftist or Marxist ideas that's not necessarily beneficial to the black community. That's why. And as you said earlier, if we're just 13% of the country, how was our vote? This is what I'm saying.
So there you go. So there's your answer. That's what I'm saying.
No, hold on, though. If you have other black people fighting against other black people for certain things, and then voting for certain things that's not in the best interest of black folks, then the vote is not going to matter. Or it's going to. Or if you have
and therein lies the power in the black vote. If other black people are voting for other things that's not in the best interest of black people, and they're getting those things, even though they're not the best interest of the black community as a whole, they're still getting what they want for what they're voting for. And earlier you said, why should we take away the right for women to vote? But right now you're saying that black folks don't have power in their vote, so why give them the right to vote in the first place? You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Black people voting Democrat for the past 60 years. There's a reason why the Democrats like Joe Biden was telling black people, "You're not black if you don't vote for me." Obviously, there's power in his vote. In their vote, if he's going to that length to get them to vote for you. Obviously, there's a tiebreaker in the 13%.
That's not obviously his power. That's obviously it's a show. You ever see 3-Card Monty on the street?
Yeah.
How's that go? How's that scheme work? How's the only way that the scheme work?
If you're party to the scheme, or if the person knows.
How many people have to be party to the scheme?
More than one, like 3 people.
Right. So basically, one dude is playing 3-Card Monty. 2 dudes or 1 dude or a dude and a girl come up. Usually the dude and girl is the best one. Come up that the dude knows, but that nobody else around knows that they know each other. Right. They let them win. They let them walk off with the money, right? And then they get you in the scheme, right? So in order for someone, this is what I'm saying, in order for someone to be schemed or scammed, they have to want something. And the scheme and the scam and the beat of it all is that, you telling me about a vote, but they have an electoral college. You're telling me about a vote, but at the end of the day...
Let's look up the electoral college. Because I'm fucking sick of that bullshit. The electoral college, the vote don't mean nothing because the electoral college. The electoral college represents the people. College. The Electoral College follows the will of the American people. Let's go. Easy bands, easy bands, easy bands. Electoral college follows the will of of the American people. Today, the voice of the American people was heard about these lies and disinformation. Oh, shut up a bit. So this is no, I can't read this one. This is like a personal, subjective thing. And this is from 2020, so I can't read that one. I might have to take some back. Hold on, let's see. American democracy is how do we measure the will of the people? Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. I'm trying to get an objective definition besides. Oh, let's read here. This is objective. One person will vote. How does the electoral college work? When you cast your vote for president of the United States, you're not voting directly for a candidate. Instead, your vote and votes of everyone else in your state directs the votes of the people who actually vote directly for president. Presidential electors, otherwise known as members of electoral college. So let's read that again. When you cast your vote for president of the United States, you're not voting directly for a candidate. Instead, your vote and voters of everyone else in your state. Huh. Got here my thing. Instead, your vote and the votes of everyone in your state directs the votes of the people who actually vote directly for the president. Let's read that part again. Directs the votes of the people who actually vote directly for the president. Presidential electors, otherwise known as members of the electoral college. So your votes goes to the votes of the people go to the electoral college, and the electoral college vote for the president based upon the votes of the people. This blog and those that will follow will explain how electoral college works. The history of the electoral college included its racist origins and why it must be abolished. Oh shit. There we go. Let's begin by exploring who the electors of the electoral college are, how they're selected, and how they vote for the president and vice president. Who are electors? The presidential electors are 538 people selected from all 50 states, and the District of Columbia to elect the president of the United States. Now you know there's 3 city states. The Vatican being the church, Britain being the economy system, America being the military power. So that's the District of Columbia, right? Let me, because that's from what I remember. What is the District of... Right, so District of Columbia is Washington, D.C. Let's see. All right. But anyway, let's stick to this. Members of the Electoral College vote on the behalf of a given state for that candidate that wins that state's popular vote. For example, if a certain candidate wins the popular vote in Nevada, Nevada's presidential elector will vote for that candidate in the presidential election. Members of the Electoral College vote on the behalf of a given state for the candidate that wins that state's popular vote. For example, if a certain candidate wins the popular vote in Nevada, Nevada's presidential electors will vote for that candidate in the presidential election. So the electoral vote is based upon the votes of the people in that state. Izzy Bands. Bro, I'm not going to read any further. I told you right there. To become the president of the United States, a candidate must win 270 votes from these electors rather than the nation's popular vote. Right. So even though you had the nation's popular vote for Donald Trump, right, the state's popular vote influenced the Electoral College vote to vote for the president. So the Electoral College vote is based off the state. And the electoral representative representing that state is voting based off the people of that state. You understand? So the people of that state influence the electoral vote or the electoral representative to vote for the president. Izzy Bands. Let's go. So if you have women who outnumber men, according to each state, and say all those women were to vote Democratic or all those women were to vote leftist, the electoral colleges would have voted based upon those women in that state voting for blue. And those electoral colleges would have voted blue based upon that state. That's how it can become a problem, Izzy, man.
These people be homeboys and be frat brothers and be all type of other brothers, and so forth and so on, belonging to the same clubs and the same team or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I hear you. But at the end of the day, all of this shit is a farce. It's not for nothing. It's a farce.
No, see, the problem with it is Izzy Bands, is that you have rogue people sitting in the government, not fighting for the best interests of the people, but fighting for the best interests of themselves. The Constitution, the three branches of government, the judicial. Let me go look that up. All right, quick. I have ADHD, so I can't remember them off the top. The three, even the FDA, and how capitalism is structured and regulated, right? All of these things are perfect. The problem is that when you have corrupted people sitting in these places, not enforcing the rules and the laws on the book is the problem. Legislative, executive, judicial branch. What does the legislative branch does? Makes laws. Congress is the legislative branch of the federal government. Congress is made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Judicial branch interprets laws. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the judicial branch. Separation of powers. The three branches have separate powers and responsibilities. The branches also work together to ensure the government is effective and protect citizens' rights. Right? So this is what protects citizen rights against predatory capitalism, right? Mechanism called checks and balances are built into the branches to prevent any one branch from having too much power. State governments. All state governments are modeled after the federal government and have the same three branches. Boom. So as I said, this government is supposed to protect the rights of the people. And the people choose who can best represent them. Which is what the left have been doing, but y'all haven't been paying attention.
Elected is selected. So I hear what you're saying. The only power that's conceded is power that's taken. There's no such thing as power that's conceded through a vote, bro. Just for the record.
So then why give women the right to vote if there's no power in the vote? Anyway, I've been talking about this long enough. I'm tired and I'm hungry. In conclusion, I don't know why men are afraid to identify women as the problem. No. I'm gonna find some energy.
Yo, shout out to St. James Place in Virginia that worked a little bit of money. Then you got no, sorry, I'm sorry. But anyway, I just answered it. Yo, fam, every woman is not a pawn, bro. Every woman is not a pawn. So at the end of the day,
So with this discussion, right? Me and Izzy Bands, we were going back and forth about. I guess now we're going to the dating, right? Portion of it. So I'm tired. I might do a part 2 of this tomorrow. No, I'm gonna soldier this the fuck up. Hold on.
get in the wrestling ring, you ain't gonna get choked out.
And nobody will ever know your name. Shout out to Achilles.
That's not true. Are you silly? Like, if you get moved and easily moved around by a woman, that's your problem. That's on you.
Hold on. No, I gotta get to the beginning of this conversation.
If you're a trick and that's not,
I'm a soldier through this one.
you fighting against something. You fighting against what they want you to fight against.
Is what right in my face, what I can see.
So listen, while you paying attention to one thing, it's really something totally else going on. It's not what you think it is. So while you're focusing on these women and what these women are doing now, what you gotta focus on the person out. Let me tell you the way that you could get out. The way that they're not elected. So
And it's working. And if it was not for white women and Latin women, this country would be in the left right now. You do know that?
No, I don't know that.
Well, go look at the voting, the voting percentage.
See, that's what I'm saying. You
conspiracy theory and
hold on real quick, Petty Pendergrass. You keep telling me about something that doesn't make any sense. You keep telling it's not about what you think it's about. Listen, whoever is.
So now Izzy Ban is going into it's not what you think it's about. Izzy Ban, I've been into those schools already, as I said earlier, bro. I understand what you're saying, but I cannot touch what I cannot see. I only can touch what I can see. So I was might able to punch what I can't see in the face. Tear down the walls that's hiding or shielding what I can see to get to what I cannot see. But I gotta deal with it in my face first.
Who's going to be in office has already been selected. They're not elected. So listen, while you paying attention to one thing, it's really something totally else going on. It's not what you think it is. So while you're focusing on these women and what these women are doing now, what you gotta focus on,
because the unseen, it's like in Will Smith Focus, right? The person pulling the strings is using the women to distract me from what's going on. Why not I do something to stop the women from allowing themselves being used against me? The person pulling the strings is using the woman to distract me. That's power. If the object of the game to continue civilization is to get into a relationship with a woman to create a family, right? And now the person pulling the strings is corrupting the woman to prevent that from happening. That is a power play, my brother. And I cannot deal with what's unseen if that what is in front of my face distracting me is preventing me from seeing it. That's a power. That's power, bruh.
Now, let me tell you the way that you could get out. The way that you can get out is you gotta focus on yourself first, right? You gotta get to know you, get to understand you, get to get in tune with yourself. Once you do that, then you select a companion.
Easy bands. I understand all of that. Self improvement, self work, self all of that. But if the environment is so fucked up that you have no companion to select from, you can no longer blame yourself. Or you have to clean up the environment. So it's like you going into a city full of French fries, but you want hamburgers. What do? Continue to eat the French fries or create a hamburger restaurant that sells hamburgers. So, if I create myself as a traditional male and I go into the environment of women and I'm seeing non traditional women, right? And then I'm trying to influence women to be traditional, but every time I keep seeing somebody over there influencing the women to be non traditional, right? Wouldn't I have to go do something about that? Wouldn't I have to now stop that person from or uh, influence, make sure that my influence is heavier, a lot stronger, to influence the environment to produce more traditional women? Because remember, there's another force. As you said, the person behind the scenes or the man behind the iron curtain influencing the women to be non-traditional, making it so that I cannot select women to be traditional like me or companion that wants to be traditional according to me. And mind you, the women are willingly following the non-traditional person. And that non-traditional person that's influencing the woman is telling the woman, not dirty macking on me, telling them not to fuck with me. This is the issue that Angry Man is running into and Anton Daniels is running into. Because the whole space tells them that they're suckers and they're tricks. When they call Anton Daniel a sucker and a lame. You feel what I'm saying? For trying to influence women to be more traditional and non promiscuous. But if the women keep being promiscuous, keep being influenced, and then, mind you, there's not just one influence, there's plenty of influences in the environment that are influencing black women to be non traditional. And if black men are, and mind you, not a if, black men are stepping their game up to be traditional now. Black men's average earning income stepped up by 5,000. We're now 55,000 on average. Now we could get that. I want us to get that to 80K on average. But we're stepping our game up and we're getting to be more traditional. And the women are getting worse. The women are not getting more traditional. They're not following the influence of the men who are stepping up their game. They're getting worse and worse. And pretty soon, if it keeps getting worse and the problem keeps growing, you're not going to have any traditional women for traditional men to pick from, or good men to pick from. Good women for the good men to pick. The garden is already poisoned and tainted. And that's what I'm trying to point out.
Someone who's on the same alignment, the same page than to be when you meet them to be, and you build with them, and as long as they're willing and able, then y'all can build them. Like at the end of the day, you playing a rigged game. I don't understand what you want from a rigged game. You want fairness out of a game that's rigged. Shout out to Lord ADS. And I'm telling you, the only way to win the game is to not to play.
No, the only way to win the game is to figure out how to beat that shit. I'm not afraid to play the game. You know, I'm more afraid to lose or win. You don't play the game, you can't complain about the game. I'm not afraid. I have no fear. Like Achilles told that little boy when the young boy said, "Yeah, I would be afraid to fight that guy." Achilles said that, "Well, that's why nobody will remember your name." I have no fear of the game. I have no fear of playing the game, for I am the game. And I'm seeing that the game is broken and need to be fixed. And the only way you're gonna fix the game that's rigged is to unrig that motherfucker.
But earlier you said you have to. No, never mind.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Earlier you said you had to fight. Now you saying you don't have to play.
This is it. All right, yo, little aliens.
Yeah, that's about it. Earlier, you said you had earlier in this stream. He said you had to fight. Now he's saying you don't have to play. Or to win the game, you don't have to play. If you're not playing, you're not fighting.
I actually like y'all back and forth right now because I get both sides of the argument, but it's at different levels of the conversation, and I just
I understand what Izzy Bears is saying because I studied in the District of Columbia, the 3 city states, the Pope being the church, England being the monetary power, and America being the military. I did all that, but what I'm arguing is what right in my face, what I can see. We can't, right now, we can't touch whoever's in power. We can't see them things.
The Bible says the things that are seen are temporal, while the things that are unseen.
Yes, we wrestle not in physicality, but in principalities. I get all of that shit, bro. But what I can see right now is the physical stuff, and I can only deal with what's right in my face.
You know,
I get it. Right, not the physicality, but
right. What you don't know can delete you. It can not only hurt you, it can delete you. So at the end of the day, you fighting against something. You fighting against what they want you to fight against, and that is keeping you in a lower state of vibration. Like at the end of the day, your enemy is not who you think your enemy is. Like if they want to be you.
But my enemy is using my woman against me. My enemy, who I can't see, is using my woman, who I can see, against me. I'm going to say that again. My enemy, who I can't see who is against me, is using my woman against me. And that's the issue. But anyway, yo, I'm tired, bro. Anyway, in conclusion, I don't know why men are afraid of identifying women as the problem, and I don't know why men are afraid of giving consequences to women that create problems in your environment. And you're going to go on and go on and go on until the shit that's happening now repeats itself again. And get this, Izzy Bands and Corey Love of Young 41, when the shit hits the fan and the woman become manifest into a bigger problem, I don't want to hear no fucking complaining. If y'all complain, I'm going to get up here and roast your ass. I'm out.